All content presented on the Russ Clark Show. Is that going through? Including statements made by guests, commentators, and callers, reflect the personal opinions of those individuals and is provided for information and entertainment purposes only. This view do not represent the official positions of Mortgage One Studios, its owners, employees, affiliates, or partners. Mortgage One Studios does not endorse, verify, or guarantee the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any statements made by third parties during programming. Well, good morning, Russ Clark Show at Mortgage One. I actually have Dean with me again today. You know, Dean, this is 3 days in a row.
Yeah, it's a record. You know, I figure it's worthwhile.
It is a record.
When you get a chance to set a record, you might as well.
And of course, Chris Larson, as expected, to come shows up on a Thursday morning.
I'm here, you know, just before we start.
So. Now, Chris, you're not doing school right now.
Well, I've got AWC.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got some night classes at AWC.
You teaching or you taking?
I'm teaching. No, that's a good question. I've got like 300 credits over there. I take classes all the time just because I'm curious and interested. So
that's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
that is a good way.
It's a good time. I noticed your legal disclaimer. You're like legit now.
No.
You're saying he wasn't before?
Don't.
Well, that's just another level of.
I mean, yeah, it's just, you know, it sounds like, wow, these guys are with it.
Yeah.
I think that's a misrepresentation.
There's like 2 people listening now.
They're not a pirate station.
Yeah. Were we before? We'll see where it
People
goes.
were wondering. You know.
Hey, Dean and I started talking about this a little while ago. Now, Dean's been here for a while.
Yeah.
No,
on the earth in Yuma.
All of that. All of those, all the above.
Correct.
All the above. About the chemical industry.
Okay.
Petrochemicals and everything else. And I guess it's something I don't really think about.
I don't either. Yeah.
I've thought about it.
Yeah, you do.
It's kind of like sausage. Nobody wants to know.
Yeah, we don't want to know what's going on there. But
it's so important. All of modern society is built on it from about 1900. I call it the age of petroleum.
Nothing works without it at this point.
It doesn't.
But
well,
there
are a few things, but you know, we don't want to go back. We don't all want to be Amish.
You're not going to be driving a car.
No.
Or working a war machine. And I know, and I mentioned to you that I remember reading the target list of the Ukrainians. It quite often was chemical plants
in Russia.
In Russia, because they want to stop Russia's war machine.
Right. Yeah.
And without the chemicals, you can't run a tank.
Yeah,
well, it runs out of the ones you have available. Yeah.
Yeah. It needs
fuel is a big one. Lubrication.
Yeah.
So what that tells me is that, and I don't even have the article open. What it tells me is that it's necessary enough to where, like everything else we talk about in this country, where we need to do our own drugs, we need to be so that we don't get cut off, our own oil, our own chemicals, all of that stuff is.
And a big part of it is fertilizer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that. Just I saw an article on that a lot of farmers are having a hard time getting the fertilizer.
And I don't know how much we import from overseas. I know we make some here, but I'm not sure of the percentage.
Well, the problem with what's going on in the strait, though, is whether we import it or not, which I think we do. It raises the price. If the price is raised, it's raised across the world.
And it's a world market.
Yeah,
right.
You know. It's something that I don't think our founders of the country anticipated how integrated the whole world has become.
Things weren't global at all back then.
Yeah. Well, they
were to an extent, but
they had some trade with Europe. They had some trade with Asia.
Yeah.
It existed. It just took a long time.
Yeah.
I was reading some of the accounts of how sailing ships just before steamships became a big thing, and they had advanced sailing ships, and they had these huge, really cheap to make sailing ships that they would take bulk cargoes from Asia, and it would take them like a year and a half to get from where to make the trip.
Right.
Because they didn't travel real fast. You know, they were only going like 3 or 4 knots. And it took them a long, long time, but it was profitable because they could do it. You know, and they had this huge, I mean, they were small compared to what we have today, but I was flabbergasted to realize that they took such a long time.
That's a commitment.
Yeah.
I'll be right back, baby. I'm taking a cruise.
Well, you read about the whalers. They'd be gone for 2 years at a time.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
If they came back and there was a new baby, there was trouble.
And the reason I mentioned the chemical industry is I read an article this morning about Europe's chemical industry and the importance of it and the fact that they're losing big chunks of it. Now, when I say importance of it, we want to be independent so that we're not beholden to another country that makes it for us, like in drugs, like in fuel and all that other stuff, and for national security. And I know something's come up.
Could be, they've got a big base, but they have chosen not to.
Right. And for years, the United States, we've been concerned about the jobs going overseas.
That too, but that's part of the whole picture.
And we have not considered the fact that not only are the jobs going overseas, but the production of things we need are going overseas, and we have to get them back into Canada.
And we've seen this happen time and time again with different industries. Well, like in the steel industry, we used to be a big producer of steels, and then these other countries would start doing it and undercut us. Some of it through unethical trades. They would flood the market, take a loss on it to get us to stop making it.
Right.
So first thing that goes is rebar. We stop making rebar because we don't make as much money. And then it's the 1 inch and the 2 inch. And pretty soon we're not making steel. And then we have a rust belt.
And part of that was because we were exporting pollution overseas.
Yes.
We have tight controls, environmental controls here, and China doesn't.
But we devastated some industries and lost jobs, lost technology, and then we become beholden on it. Then we don't have any options.
Yep.
We can't
much restricted options.
Restricted options, not near as many. And after someone captures the whole industry, the prices go up. So in the long run,
it hurt.
They're and that predatory type stuff, they try to stop it through tariffs and everything else. Like, look, you start playing games, we're going to tariff you so you don't put us out of business. And Trump has been big on that and watch it.
Yeah.
Well, same thing is going on in chemicals. And people don't, a lot of politicians, I'm saying, green people, they don't want to produce chemicals.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's dirty. It has byproducts that are not good, that have to be taken care of. It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So people say, ship it overseas. But then every time we need a quart of oil or some hydraulics or some lubricants, we got to go overseas and get it and pay whatever they say.
And I think that whole thing of, we don't want to do it here because of the pollution and all this. I think that's insulting because we're Americans. We solve problems. Give us the problem. We'll find a way to solve it rather than being lazy and just let them deal with the problem.
Point well taken. And I think with the coal industry, we had such regulations to keep the coal cleaner, all these scrubbers and all that we were doing that foreign countries don't necessarily do.
Right.
And so we're shipping coal over. But
and that's the what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention. We needed it. So we figured out how to do it, and we can do that with anything.
Well, Financial Times did some look into this over Europe's chemical industry, and they are ahead of us in working on, getting rid of dirty businesses and aggressive regulations, and then worrying about green energy and all that stuff, and they want to shove the chemicals off.
Right.
Well, their investment in Europe's chemical sector fell 80%, more than 80% in 2025.
I would not call that being ahead of us. I would call it going down the wrong path.
Yeah.
Right. And it collapsed from 1.9 million tons of new capacity in 2024 to 0.3 tons last year.
Wow.
And
in new capacity.
That's
huge. So, are you saying they're holding even with what they used to do?
Apparently they're moving away from it.
Because one of the big problems that like Germany has is they've moved away from reliable energy production, particularly coal and nuclear.
Gave up that.
And then they're trying to do it with windmills and solar, and their energy cost of 5 times what it used to be. And so when you're making steel or a car, it takes a lot of energy to make it. If you have to pay 5 times as much, you can't be competitive on the world market.
They gave up their refineries and just hooked a pipeline up to Russia.
Right.
Yeah. or they buy nuclear power from France.
Right.
Or,
Which they put themselves in a terrible way, and it's expensive. They're not self-sufficient. They're self-supporting.
And there's getting to be a pushback, and it's startling to watch how authoritarian the current government is in attempting to stop any opposition.
Mm.
You know, they're saying, "Oh, the party that is the most popular in opposition to us, they're not legitimate.
Right.
We're not going to allow them to buy advertising. We're not going to allow them to do this.
They're a national security risk.
We're not sure that members of that party should be allowed to buy a house. We're going to give these people, the local councils a chance to bid against them or something."
Wow.
Yeah, we're starting to see some of that stuff here, though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we are. Well, and also the plant closures existing doubled since 22. About 20,000 jobs have been directly affected. 37 million tons of production capacity, representing approximately 9% of Europe's chemical production capacity, have disappeared.
A lot of their manufacturing jobs are hard. You know, they're not making enough money to afford them.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you import millions and millions of unskilled people and put them on your welfare rolls.
Yeah.
Right.
Who would think that would cause a problem? Does it sound familiar?
Yeah. It's crazy to me that
whoever thinks it
same
isn't talking up enough.
happening.
Yeah.
In Europe.
Well, and this article coming from Financial Times, everything they wanted to stress in there, as Americans, we better be paying close attention because we're headed that same way.
Yeah.
We're looking at the same thing, particularly like you look at states like California.
Yeah.
Where they come down hard on anything they consider as non-green, like oil companies. They hate carbon and chased them out. At the same time, they're paying more for welfare for people that are unskilled.
Yeah. And, we pay so much attention to, what's happening here in the United States that we should be watching Europe. And, clearly Dean is to see, the cautionary tale that's happening over there. Let's learn from their mistakes.
Well, I think Trump is. I think Trump's way ahead of that. I mean, that's a whole part of his America First programs. Make sure we're independent.
Yeah.
On not bringing jobs back.
And nobody thinks about that. I think it's a huge issue. Yeah.
I think the media has pushed not thinking about it.
Yeah.
They don't want to mention it. There are a lot of people who think about it. I see lots of discussion on the net by people who are thoughtful and careful about it. There's a guy that I would, if people could search for him, he goes by Manhattan Contrarian, and he writes these wonderfully logical arguments about why this particular thing won't work.
Well, that's why nobody listens.
and it's just fascinating. And he's saying New York is heading for a disaster because their laws say we have to have, like 80% green energy in like 5 years.
Right.
But it's impossible.
Right.
They just can't do it because it doesn't work.
Dean, that can't be true because Mandani just gave a glowing report on his establishment. 100 days now. It's been 100 days and they're just doing wonderfully.
Well, of course, he's not New York State. He's New York City.
He's a big chunk of New York State.
Yeah. But what they're finding out now is that people are saying, well, this has to be done. The law says it has to be done within this time. But it's just all fairy tales and unicorns.
They don't have a...
And so now the business people are looking at, oh my gosh, we won't have enough energy to work. We'll have blackouts everywhere. They say, we can't put this plan into a place. It won't work. And so now they're revising, but it's kind of late in the game. They don't have a lot of time to work with.
Yeah.
And what they find is that the people who have bought into the ideology are saying, no, you can't do that. You can't. You have to go forward with the plan.
Well, it's in their best interest because they've committed to
they consider
the
it
plan.
To be in their interest, and in some of them it is in their best interest because they are the people installing the windmills or monitoring the solar power plants or whatever.
Because when you were making the statement just a second ago, that it's too late, they can't make it, they don't even just dropping that law that it has to happen in 5 years. There's other things that are already in the works that's going to be hard to stop.
Yes,
and
correct.
Turn around. So,
and if you have increasing demand, and we're a growing society, our population's going up, maybe not real fast. and we have more demand coming online, like the data centers and other things. You need more energy, but it takes a while to build power plants. You can't just build them overnight.
Energy is part of the reason that the petrochemical is in Europe is getting away from it. It's high energy prices. Of course, they have high energy prices because they've dismantled their energy sector.
Yes, exactly.
And are buying it from offshore, so they have high energy prices.
I have tried to understand if there's any logic to shutting down nuclear power plants in the name of greenness. Right. I mean, nuclear power is about as green as you can get.
Yeah.
That produces almost no pollution.
Here's the rationale.
Go ahead.
The same activists that were anti-nuclear are now the green activists, and they can't drop it.
Yeah.
Well, because there's no logic behind it.
Well,
it's emotion.
I'll put forward a logic, and
What's that?
I've heard this has been verified, at least to a certain extent, as the Soviet and Chinese pay those activists.
Oh, well, that's probably maybe part of it.
I mean, they fund the activist groups. And if you look at it from a great power standpoint, having a Europe that doesn't have much energy and is not competitive because their energy prices are 5 times as high as yours are, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Well, high energy prices, suffocating bureaucracy, which we are very good at suffocating people with bureaucracy.
Yeah. Oh, we're not nearly as good as Europe.
No, Europe is worse, but we're headed that way. Aggressive regulations. It sounds like California.
Yeah, exactly.
And a flood of cheaper imports from China. And that's always like, well, we don't need to make it. Look, we can get it cheaper from China. We can get it cheaper from China. Get it cheaper from China. And then that's where you put all your eggs is in that basket. And you better hope that China doesn't realize, okay, now I got control.
Yeah, exactly.
And you'll do what I say.
Remember during COVID, and they said, oh, well, we'll maybe ship some of this stuff and maybe not some of the other stuff. And it was all stuff we needed.
Exactly right.
Well, and we've seen what happens when it's all about, well, what's the cheapest? And we've lost the local stores and things like that because it's cheaper to go to the big name, and we lose the local industry, and the money leaves your town. If you want to keep the money in town, you got to pay a little bit more for the local people. If we want to keep industry in our country, we got to pay a little bit more to keep it here.
And maybe we don't have to pay a little bit more in the long run.
Long run, right?
Well, maybe if we stop this suffocating bureaucracy, we stop the regulation, we stop the high prices, we could be more efficient, and we can be very good at it. And you, by the way, have already had a correction from the correction department.
Me?
Yeah, I think you personally did.
Oh, okay. That was good. I always like corrections.
It says there's no longer any Soviets.
Okay.
That's true. Did I put them in the present tense? I must have made a mistake.
Maybe, but
I'm just said the Soviets and China.
Oh yeah, I should have said the Russians.
I'm just happy it was
That's
you.
good. I'm glad that
I'm very happy.
It's good that I have somebody to make those corrections.
and all three of us are showing our age because we didn't question it.
We all grew up in the Cold War, right?
No, I didn't question it.
But the other thing is, you don't just lose the local stuff, you lose institutional knowledge.
Correct.
Yeah, you can't just start it up again either. Yeah, because it's
not quickly.
The people that know it.
I mean, people can relearn it, and there's books and all that, but there's a lot of institutional knowledge that exists inside people that they transfer from one person to the next.
Well, and we're having to train whole groups of people now on new technologies like the chips, which we never did heavily. Right. That was always Taiwan, China, and stuff.
Well, we started making chips here in the U.S. We were the ones who pioneered that, and then it moved overseas, and the Taiwanese ran with it. They're some of the foremost chip makers in the world. And in Trump's first term, he said, "We need to be able to make chips here." Mm-hmm. And so now we have 3 big plants in the process of being finished here in Arizona.
Well, some of them are finished, but they're still working to build additional plants on the same property.
Yeah. Okay.
They are producing chips in Phoenix.
And I've been reading, because I've been following Elon Musk and Tesla and all that. They're building their own plant to make chips.
But what you mentioned about institutional knowledge, we don't really have it. I mean, in order to start the plants in Phoenix, they had to import half of the people from Taiwan.
Sure.
Or better.
But we're rebuilding that knowledge.
But that's the program. In fact, it was set up that they made they made concessions and say, okay, you're going to have a certain percentage of Taiwanese that are training our staff. They've exceeded it right now, and there's questions about that. But they got to get them up to speed, and that's pretty technical.
Oh, it's extremely.
It's not like an assembly
precise.
line.
It's not something you can just start up in your garage.
Right. And it's not just bringing in people to train our people. We have to have an education system that can get our people to the point where they can be trained by, in these specialized industries. And I don't think our education system is prepared for
it's
that.
not binary. It's more of a bell curve. There are people that perfectly capable, but maybe not in as high a percentages as somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's important. We should try to get as high as many people, high a number of people, high a percentage of people as can do it as are available. You want to maximize your human capital if you can.
Yeah.
Well, and I think with this petrochemical thing, Europe is in danger, and it's what this article is about, of losing that institutional knowledge, losing the plants, and losing that industry, and that we should be careful.
Well,
we should watch it.
Europe is, in many ways, has pioneered a lot of the industrial processes.
Yeah.
And although we pride ourselves being innovators here in the United States, if you look at the history of a lot of industries, they started in Europe or in the UK, and then we improved on them.
Right.
Now, some were in the US, and we've done a lot of innovation, and we've done things that would make processes better. But I was talking about the Haber process is what is used to make fertilizer out of mostly natural gas, and for the ammonium products that you use to make explosives as well. That was invented in Germany around 1905, something like that. Around 1900. I'm a little unsure just what direction. A couple years.
Okay.
This article sums up.
Completely transformed industry.
As U.S. policymakers ponder our direction moving forward, the lessons from Europe's decline is not that our environmental goals or worker protections should be abandoned. It is that policy choices have trade-offs, and ignoring competitiveness has real consequences. The dramatic decline in chemical manufacturing in Europe shows what happens when regulation races ahead of market realities and when governments underestimate how quickly global supply chains can shift. Once capacity is gone, it's extraordinarily difficult, time-consuming, and very expensive to rebuild. So he says the United States wants to avoid becoming dependent on China for chemicals and undermine defense, healthcare, agriculture, and advancing manufacturing. We need a coherent strategy, faster permitting, predictable regulation, realistic climate policy timelines. Which that's a big order.
That doesn't sound too bad.
No, it sounds like a reasonable, but
I'm not sure I agree with some of the underlying assumptions that we have to have a climate policy. I don't buy into the whole global warming, and even if we are probably warming somewhat, but it's probably natural processes mostly.
Well, I think you framed it right.
The word that came to my mind there was the consistent policies.
Yes.
Big deal.
If we're changing our the party in power every few years, it's real difficult to have consistent policy.
It has.
Well, we had consistent policy for decades in this country. I would say from Truman through probably at least past Kennedy. Let's see, who would be the Bushes. I'd say we had pretty consistent. The thing that changed everything was propping up China and bringing China to a high industrial level. And the theory was that if we did that and had a lot of trade with China, then they would become liberalized and Western. Well, they've, some of that has happened, but in general, the Chinese Communist Party is still in power, and they've changed how they look at things. When you have a high communist official saying, I don't see any reason why a communist can't be rich, and really China is now more of a, what I'd call, it's more of a sort of a fascist society in that the government controls all the levers of production. They let you say that you own it, but if you fall out of favor with the party, suddenly you don't own it anymore.
Right, yeah.
So it has not liberalized, but the education of the people in China is amazing. I think they're highly educated And especially if you look at the diaspora, the Chinese that have fled persecution in China, they're amazing people, and they have incredible understanding of the world and what's going on. That's my opinion.
Edward brings us some breaking news.
Okay.
Former Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax shot and killed his wife inside the Virginia home and then killed himself.
Oh, gee.
And that's according to Fairfax County Police.
Okay, so no mention of party, so I'm going to guess he's a Democrat?
Democrat. Yeah.
Oh,
but it doesn't matter. You know,
it doesn't matter.
A shooting's a shooting.
Well, it does matter because the way that I intuited that was because there was no mention of the party. I think if he'd have been a Republican.
No, there was a mention. I skipped it.
Okay.
I skipped it. The shooting stemmed from an ongoing domestic dispute surrounding what seems to be a complicated or messy divorce. That's
tragic. It's just tragic. I hate.
Yeah.
You just hate to see this domestic stuff because
they've already mentioned
no winners. There's no winners.
Yeah. They mentioned there's no threat to the community. Well, yeah, he killed himself, and then and detectives are investigating according to police, and they said he served as lieutenant governor from 2018 to 2022.
Fairly recent.
He also ran for governor of Virginia in 2021. Fairfax faced calls for resignation following sexual assault allegations against him in 2019. And he states that Virginia lawmakers are already started calling for a gun ban. Now, does that surprise you?
No.
I guess not, but it's not rational.
No.
I mean, you really think some type of gun ban is going to prevent a former
doesn't
governor
matter
from having a gun in his own home?
Well, that's you really think that they think it will. They don't. They just don't like them.
Well,
right. You're correct.
We've had stories in the news of these mass knife attacks. And nobody's calling for let's outlaw the knives.
Well, they did in Europe.
Britain.
Yeah,
in Britain. They're talking about they have boxes that you can drop knives off in. I realize it seems kind of silly, but that's true. I mean, anybody can make a knife. You don't even have to have metal.
Well, the prisoners in prisons, they make knives. So.
Do they?
The hammer and a rock, a piece of steel.
Oh, you mean illegally? I thought you meant they did that.
Yeah,
but it's not just England. In Australia, you cannot carry a pocket knife around with you unless you know the proper words to tell a policeman that I carry this knife for a particular purpose that is legitimate.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's insane.
It's my friends told me, well, here's the words you have to say. I use it for food preparation or as an emergency escape tool in my vehicle. If I need to cut a seatbelt or something, and then you could carry a pocket knife. But you could not carry it into a bar.
Unbelievable. I threw that, nobody's calling for our knives to be outlawed because obviously that's insane. But
because you're carrying one now.
People are doing that. That's crazy.
It's kind of a tool.
Well, and in the U.S., there are a lot of very restrictive laws that the people at Knife Rights, Doug Ritter is the president there. I've written a number of articles about it. And they're trying to change the laws in the states, but there were a number of laws where it said you couldn't carry a knife that had a blade more than 3 inches long, or some of them I've seen it as low as 1.5 inches long.
Yeah, because you can't kill anyone with 1.5 inch long blade.
Well, it depends how knowledgeable about human anatomy you are, and of course, there's all kinds of other ways that you can kill people. But it's just they're fighting it because the slogan of Knife Rights is the second front in protecting the Second Amendment, or maybe restoring the Second Amendment. And it's true. Knives are arms, just like a handgun is, or a rifle, or a shotgun, or a machine gun.
Yeah, you don't see as many people carrying swords now that you used to.
I think you see more. I think there are places where you can. I thought about it in Panama before I got my handgun permit there. I'd see people carrying machetes all over the place. That's a very effective weapon. A machete.
Oh my!
That's not a knife.
And
people would carry them.
Oh, sure.
Just like a hook on their belt or something? And
Well, most
like a
in their
hammer?
hands or something, because they use them as tool for gardening, for
Yeah,
lawn care, stuff
yeah.
like that. And nobody thought much about it. Now, I think if you were in a business suit or a Guyabera or something like that,
Carrying a
and
machete.
they might look at you and, why are you carrying the machete? You know, you
Yeah.
don't look like you're dressed for
If you're
work. You know?
dressed like a ninja or something. It would-
Yeah, maybe. But my point was, I'd see them everywhere,
Huh.
and so it wasn't any big deal. I mean, a machete is essentially a pretty effective short sword.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, many of them much longer than the Roman short swords, and they're very effective weapons. You know, lots of people get killed with machetes. So, but you could carry it because it was a tool,
Right.
And I think the same thing happens in California, although they have laws against. Actually, they went to court and they lost on one of the knife laws, so you can generally carry knives.
The military still has swords as part of the dress
Ceremonial
uniform,
stuff,
ceremonial stuff, but
Yeah.
but it used to be, you know.
Well, and even they have bayonets. You know, they don't go into combat with swords.
Do
but
they
they'll-
still do bayonets in combat? Do
I
they still?
think so. And I know that about 20, 30 years ago, they did a redesign of a bayonet, and it was combined with the bayonet and the sheath together could cut wires.
Okay.
You know, for like barbed wire fences,
Right.
that type of
But-
thing.
That's cool.
But you don't have
I
bayonets.
don't know if that's what they issue today.
Never seen an M16 with a bayonet on it.
Sure, you do.
You do?
You can
They do
attach
that?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Okay.
haven't been attached.
But they, you know,
Stand corrected.
we would always carry K
K-bar?
something.
K-bar?
K-bar, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
Marine combat knife.
Yeah.
Well known.
Oh,
Marine.
you know, you asked that question about the article didn't mention any party. When
Right. For the Virginia.
Edward put a
one-
note on that, and he said the article did not mention party. I had to look it up.
Well, I feel vindicated.
Yes, you are. You are. You were right. It was partisan,
Yeah.
because usually Republicans, they'll put it if it's something bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
He made a comment here about the export of oil, that the U.S. nearly became a net crude exporter last week for the first time since World War II.
Really?
crude, but we exported finished products, I think.
I don't know. But it says, I think we have a refining limitation. I think we don't have enough refineries, but I don't know.
When I looked at that, what I found out is the existing refineries have continually expanded their
They
capacity.
have. They've been modernized and stuff because they haven't built one in years. Although there's one being built right now in Galveston.
Yeah, I've been wanting the one to be built in Tacna, but it never seems to happen.
It says it exports jumped to 5.2 million barrels per day.
That's quite a bit.
And net imports fell to 66,000 barrels per day, the lowest on record in weekly data back to 2001.
Huh.
Surge is driven by Asian and European buyers replacing lost Middle East supplies, which makes sense. In fact, Trump has said, come get the oil. Look at all the ships coming, all these empty, he kept, remember he said that many times. Because of the Strait of Hormuz. He says about 47% of U.S. exports headed to Europe and 37% to Asia. Top buyers include the Netherlands, Japan, France, Germany, and South Korea. And traders and analysts warn U.S. exports are nearing capacity limits, which I was wondering about that.
Well,
we don't have an unlimited available.
It's true. I mean, when people talk about, I don't know if you heard the concept peak oil.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the idea that at some point, the amount of oil being produced will start dropping. You only get so amount. We haven't hit it yet. We were supposed to hit it like 40 years ago.
Analysts are already warning it, and you look at the maps, and you can see the maps of tankers movement, empty tankers movement. He says many empty super tankers are headed to the Gulf of, and he put Mexico. Where's that? Where's the Gulf of Mexico?
Some little cove.
I don't know. There's a Gulf of America, I think is what he meant, to load the incoming over the incoming weeks. So we got a lot more coming, and Trump has been inviting them.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because oil is kind of fungible. It's almost like cash, and so everybody in the world needs it, or most people in the world, most nations. And so suddenly the supply here gets shut off. So where can we get some? We'll go over there.
Right.
And that raises everybody's prices.
And this thing on the Strait of Hormuz is brought to attention that most countries don't have much of a backup.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
we have that.
We have the reserve, which
Well, we
is
have an empty
not-
reserve, but
it hasn't been refilled yet.
No, well,
they
it's got-
they put some in it.
I think they got like 300 million barrels or something in it, but it's supposed to have like 800 or something.
It's interesting because when this Iranian conflict started and the Strait of Hormuz essentially got closed, I was reading reports that, this is not going to affect China because China has a huge reserve that they've completely filled up and they're good for months. And then, about a week or two later, somebody hacked into the Chinese Communist Party. This is the story. I haven't.
I remember reading that. Yeah.
And they said, "Oh no, they've used up all that reserve. They don't have any there." And I'm going, which is true?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. What's true is they want it. In fact, the Chinese minister right now, they're getting involved in the Strait of Hormuz thing, which is no surprise. They're dependent on it. They needs to. But the foreign minister Wang Yi told talking to his Iranian counterpart that there's a unanimous demand from the international community to reopen the strait.
Right.
Now, that's surprising they're getting that kind of engagement.
That is interesting because it seems to me it's contrary to what the Iranians want.
Right. Yeah, and but he also went on to say Iran's sovereignty, security, and legitimate rights should be respected as a literal state of the Strait of Hormuz, but that freedom of navigation and safety through the strait was needed. Now, I think it's interesting that China does this as they are trying to dominate the China Sea and build little islands and saying you can't come here, it's sovereign territory, it's ours, and they're kind of pushing their way towards taking over that whole area for navigation, just like Iran's doing to the strait.
Yeah. Well, and that area contains the world's busiest strait, the Strait of Malacca. Maybe I'm mispronouncing it. And Secretary Hegseth just signed an agreement with the Indonesians who control a lot of that strait, a mutual defense agreement, and that must bother China a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, so I see this as a real turnaround for them, pushing Iran to do something they would not do.
Right. Well, that's
they don't want to do, but
much everybody does.
They're trying to shut down international travel to China. See, they want to control it all.
If Iran doesn't have control over the Strait of Hormuz, and I think they have lost it, they might try to assert more control, but I think they've lost it for now. They don't have any cards left to play.
Right.
That was probably their biggest trump card. Well, maybe I should say different word.
Trump card's okay.
Yeah.
And if they don't have that, they don't have hardly anything to pressure people with.
They don't really.
And they've been bullies and extortionists and blackmail artists for 47 years. They're not popular in the region. They're not popular in most of the world.
Yeah.
All the countries that depend on the Strait of Hormuz are all building pipelines or building bigger pipelines to go around it.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out ways to.
Well, Saudi Arabia just went right across.
Yeah, and that's a long pipeline. And
man,
there's actually two of them, a real big one and one about I think half that size.
But they don't have enough capacity to do all they want.
Right. But they did build it. I mean, it's
already built.
What is it? 1,000 miles across there?
They're looking
600, 800 miles, something like that.
Yes. And they're looking at expanding it now because of the Strait of Hormuz.
Right. So they're not dependent.
Right.
And United Arab Emirates has a pipeline that goes through Oman.
Through Oman. Yeah, that's a little shorter.
But it's also capacity limited, so they want to expand that.
Well, right. And it's all to prevent the Iranians or somebody else
and then they're talking
controlling Hormuz and blackmailing the entire world.
They're talking about pipelines up into the Mediterranean.
Yes.
And they're saying like enough with this nonsense with Iran. And Iran is also building a pipeline so they don't rely on Karg Island, and they want to go to the south of Strait of Hormuz so they don't have to contend with it.
Right.
It's interesting how everyone has become dependent on all this global market, and now we're like, let's be less dependent on the global market.
Well, it looks like everybody, including Iran, wants to get away from the Strait of Hormuz because it's become a problem, and it has been for some time.
And it's not just, having an occasional blackout in electricity. The fertilizer that we talked about most, I don't have the number exactly, but my understanding is the majority of the fertilizer that goes onto the global market comes through the Strait of Hormuz.
Yes.
I'm talking about fertilizer for farms.
Big
for
percentage
crops.
of the world's fertilizer.
And that's very time limited.
Yeah.
If you don't get that fertilizer out in the early part of the growing season,
There's
no point to it.
Right.
And so we only have probably a few weeks to get that going for sure.
Right.
And otherwise, you're looking at potential starvation. And the people don't understand that about half of the world's calories that people ingest in the world is grown with artificial fertilizer.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'd expect to be higher than that even.
It's about it seems to be about half. That's what I've read when I've done the research on it.
Well, there may be an increase in the demand for byproducts of cattle raising.
Well, they're going to use that. They're already being used.
Yes.
And that's not considered artificial fertilizer.
Right.
But we had the case of Sri Lanka. They banned artificial fertilizer, and people were starving within a year and a half.
Wow.
Not good.
Yeah.
Huh.
But I think there's limitations on using cow dung and stuff like that as fertilizer.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do use it for date palms.
Well, they use it for everything.
But a lot of
Mostly
grasses and things too.
Mhm.
But,
well, you use it for fertilizing wherever you have crops that you can fertilize, and it varies.
but I don't think they use it like on lettuce or anything, do they?
Well, they
It'd have to be
could.
really
I don't know.
processed, I would think.
What would happen is that you get it into some kind of a slurry, and you probably would prepare the field. I mean, it's not like you're going to spread it over the lettuce.
Yeah.
You till it into the soil,
not.
and and there's a rotation of crops too.
Yeah.
You put alfalfa in a field that you grew lettuce in, and the alfalfa fixes nitrogen and puts nitrogen into the soil. So the farms here in Yuma are some of the most scientifically managed and most productive of anywhere in the world, and they produce this incredible amount of crops, and that's why the land here is so incredibly valuable.
One of my listeners says, why did the U.S. Navy let a Chinese tanker through the strait? Trump made an exception, or did he go taco? That's
well, you'd have to look at the specifics. I don't know.
well, I don't know. I do know that one because that one did come up as to why that got through. It went through because it didn't come out of a port in Iran. It came out of a United Arab Emirates or something.
Okay.
And
That's
those
been
are
the
allowed. Those are allowed to go through.
Yeah. I was mistaken about the blocking of the port by the U.S.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
No.
It's
Right.
just for Iranian-bound ships.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anything comes out of a port of Iran, it's not getting through. So if you go there and load up at Karg Island, you're not getting through. Chinese did get a tanker through because it didn't load up at Karg Island.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it wasn't taco, and that's Trump always chickens out. It's funny how he becomes, the protesters are he's aggressive, he's a king,
Right.
and then he's a taco the
And
next
now,
day.
Yeah. Now he's
Now
not.
he's going to be back to being king tomorrow, I imagine, according to the protesters. Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily contradictory. It's just not correct. I mean, it's just wrong. But in the view of people who are, hate Trump, he can be both incompetent and tyrannical.
Right.
All at the same time.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I will grant you that when Trump makes up his mind, it can change quickly according to the dynamics of the situation.
Absolutely.
And I think that's admirable in a leadership, particularly
I have been astounded at what President Trump has been able to accomplish. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I see incredible advances almost everywhere.
And I think that might be part of the reason people are resistant to him is people resist change. And he's bringing up a lot of change really fast, and it feels like it can be overwhelming for people unless you focus on the intention and the result that we're looking for.
That's certainly true. And I would say we have to change. And I think most of the people in the country, I think it's probably around somewhere between 60 and 80%, think we need to change.
Yeah.
And the country was headed in the wrong direction. And now we have somebody changing the direction of the country and what most people believe is the correct direction. So Yes,
No.
you are
Well,
correct.
can be
But you
unsettling.
had to change. The change had to come.
I had friends that flew in Vietnam, and they would tell me that sometimes they would take off on a sortie and they would get instructions to fly to a place that they know there was an empty field.
Mm-hmm.
They know it. The pilots know it, but they won't change and they won't adapt. And then the information, I mean, it just happened way too often. And now we're in a situation where these sorties take off with 1,000 of them, and like 200 or 300 of them may change in mid-flight because of brand new information on where things have moved. They're not hitting empty fields now.
Right.
Our Department of War is just so amazing in its capacity, and it's really been shown by this Iranian conflict how incredibly more advanced and capable the American forces are than any other force in the world.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we were talking last week, and we're even as big and powerful as we are, we're adaptable. We're taking in the idea of drones. We're learning how to use drones. We're learning how to defend against drones on the fly.
Right.
And usually large organizations take a long time to adapt and change, but we're
borrowing technologies from others like
There's a
Ukraine.
secret.
What's that?
It wouldn't have happened under a Biden or Harris administration.
No, probably not. But look, they just reached out to Ukraine. How are you guys? And the Ukrainians came down and trained our troops on the type of drones they're using, and now we're making them.
And I saw a documentary where they're showing that I think it was the Army has these what do they call them, maker space, where people, troops can come in and just play with drones and build drones and just see what they can do with them. Just
be creative.
Yeah, just to open up their minds and let it, without a direct purpose in mind. They're just trying things, see what happens, so that they can figure out what they can do with it. Because there's so many possibilities out there. It's hard to say I want this possibility if I don't even know the other one exists.
That technology is going to bleed over to everything, and that's what's scary too. And that a lot of the guys that would do us harm, a lot of guys that that are terrorists that would want to cause a disruption. I mean, a Super Bowl is open and all that. I don't know what we're going to do to defend against that, but I'm sure those plans are already underway.
Yeah.
To make sure that those stay secure as we can.
They talk about using jamming technology and things like that, but in Ukraine they've overcome that by having cables,
fiber optics,
and I
some
saw
of them up to 5 miles long.
Yeah,
oh yeah.
There was a video of a camera drone flying over an area, and you could see it was like spider web of all these cables just all over.
I've seen videos of guys trying to walk through it, getting their legs all tangled up, and all the different.
It's amazing.
Fishing lines, what it looks like, a thin fishing line.
Well, and it's there are other ways to get around it too. They make them more autonomous. If they get jammed, well, I don't care. I've got my internal programming.
Yeah.
I can I don't have to navigate by GPS. I can navigate by the landforms. I've got that map in my memory.
A lot of our weaponry does that now.
Yes, exactly.
It does. Yeah. Something the Marines have just released a video. Released a new video. They're showing Marines conducting live hoist training on the flight decks of the USS Tripoli. I don't think it's a mistake. I think it's interesting how they release these things. Those things would not be released in years past, I wouldn't think. But they want to. They're sending messages.
Exactly.
We're getting ready to take something.
Yeah.
I guess. So Tripoli has 3,500 sailors and embarked. Marines are executing the mission to blockade ships entering and departing. So CENTCOM is just letting them know we're training. We're ready to take over a tanker. We're ready to do all of that stuff, and we're practicing.
And I think that's the best defense is look what we can do if you try something.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I think, being strong and showing that you've got technology and ability and willingness, it keeps people probably less apt to do.
And you wonder over the centuries, at least in the last few decades, because we do a show of strength.
Yeah.
And we just show up with, aircraft carrier groups off your coast. How many
that happens?
How many lives have been saved by just showing up, full force, saying, "Go for it"?
Well,
well, this is it's been known for a long time, and the philosophers, going back to Sun Tzu in China, said the best way to win a war is not having to fight it.
Fight it. Yeah.
When without fighting, and you go to who was it? Bismarck, maybe. That basically said, if you want peace, prepare for war.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so showing force has always been a way to prevent conflict.
But now it's on Instagram.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely correct. And one of the best ways to show that you have capability is to use it like we have in Iran.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the best way is to show force, and we're going to finish this hard if you do. And the second way is finish it hard when it comes up. Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
I mean, and the Romans did this all the time.
I don't think that anyone thinks Trump is bluffing at anything. I don't think they know. I don't think any of us know.
Yeah, I get frustrated when we're going to shut down. We're going to open it in 2 days. All right, we'll give you a week. And I'm like, just do it already.
Well, this is both strategic,
but that's all negotiating and things like that.
Exactly.
We don't know what's going on.
And we talked last week about, well, maybe he's taking time to get his assets into position and things like that. I don't know.
I call it strategic and tactical ambiguity, which is what you want.
Yeah.
You want the opposition to be guessing.
Yeah.
Because if they know what you're going to do, they can
wait.
They can do countermeasures. They can set up things. They can arrange for things. If you tell them, I am going to strike this point at exactly this time with these forces and these weapons, well, then they get countermeasures. But if you say, I'm going to do this, and then 20 minutes later say something that seems contradictory, they don't know.
Right.
They don't. But I think there's times that if you're really tough on something, say, like right now we're being tough. You cannot have nuclear. We're gonna go after you. And you got to open that straight, or we're not going to accept anything but.
Sure, absolutely.
I think so. Or if you cross this red line, we're going to attack you. Right. Now, that red line was Obama.
Yeah.
So the next day they crossed the red line and nothing happened.
Exactly. And so that displays a weakness.
It sets you back. I mean, it's something that people still mention.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah. The Iran now is threatening. Now, I love it when a headline starts as Iran. Who in Iran?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And what is their capacity
to threaten?
To threaten?
How much control do they have over what?
Yeah. It's you talk about ambiguity. We don't even know anything about who the leadership are, including the people in the country, because it's like fourth string now.
Well, when you say we, I'd say, yes, here at the table, we don't know. I think that our intelligence services and the Israeli intelligence services have been fantastic, and they probably have a much better idea
of people's capacity.
Yeah. But who might be coming to power? What factions are fighting
that's the
who?
Thing, who's coming to power?
Yeah.
What factions are involved?
But I have,
the people themselves in Iran,
they don't know.
They don't know.
I agree.
Each one of them is going to have their own opinion about who's in charge.
And I think that's part of this process when you degrade a country's infrastructure and communications. And by infrastructure, I mean their capacity to make war, their communications, their ability, their hierarchy. You kill a bunch of people at the top. There's ambiguity. Nobody knows for sure, but that creates the possibility of getting somebody you can deal with.
But same thing would happen in our country if we had a catastrophe like that, and all of our leaders of the United States were gone, and all of a sudden they say, okay, we got the governor of Delaware and the secretary of energy and the secretary of EPA running things. You say, who are these guys?
Right. Well, yes,
we don't know those guys.
You're right. And in an autocratic society, particularly, the hierarchy is much more important because everybody is loyal to their boss, essentially.
Right.
And in the United States, we have, I think, a little more robust because of our federal level of things. I mean, even if you take out Washington, the state capitals are still going to be running stuff. Yeah. I'm not saying that, we wouldn't be hurt badly if somebody nuked Washington, D.C., but it might not hurt us as much as Iran would be hurt if they nuked Tehran.
We've already anticipated that kind of scenario with designated survivors, so we know what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, we have a show.
We'll just watch the show again. Oh, that's what we do.
Yeah. The threat that Iran is doing now is they're going to sink American ships in the Strait of Hormuz during the blockade.
They can try.
Okay, why would you even do that?
Well, if they could do it, they would do it.
Well, and again, who's saying that that's what they're going to do?
It's a Mohsen Razi. He's a former commander-in-chief of Iranian's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Former.
Right.
And he's out saying it. And he said, President Trump wants to be the police of the key waterway. Is this really your job? Is this the job of a powerful army like the U.S.? These ships of yours will be sunk by our first missiles and have created a great danger to the U.S. military. They can definitely be exposed to our missiles, and we can destroy them. It would be great if U.S. forces launched a ground invasion of Iran, which means that's what they want.
Right.
It sounds like it.
Yeah. Tehran would take thousands of hostages, and for each hostages, we would get $1 billion.
Yeah.
It's bluster.
They'd get $1 billion.
You think?
They'd get $1 billion of warfare coming down on top.
I think Biden sent him $1 billion per person on it.
That's pretty darn close.
Yeah,
I would think people in Iran would be worried about using their military because, again, who's in charge of their military?
Well,
there's bound to be a split where no, you're not my leader. He's my leader.
I've seen some images where they show the leadership of what organizations that we know have been killed.
Yeah.
And conspicuously absent is the regular army. So that says to me that our military intelligence operations, Trump, whatever, are setting up a position for the regular army to take over. They're not as ideological, at least that's what I read, as the IRGC, Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. They're far less, and they're supposedly not as well trained either. This is what I read.
Right.
But they are a significant military force. They're armed, so maybe that will happen.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I'm sure they have a handle on what's going on. They've also armed a lot of civilian groups that are, but I don't know.
Well, there's talk of it. And we see, especially around the border areas, I see a little video here and there of an IRGC checkpoint, people being shot, or an IRGC vehicle going down the street, and a couple of people open up on it with AK-47s.
Well, some of the civilians have chased out the police. They've burned the motorcycles. Right. They've done, you see some videos coming out like that. So there's a lot of that.
And it's chaotic. It's really hard to know just what's going on where.
It's scary chaotic.
It is, yeah.
So a big country like that, 2.5 times the size of Texas,
can
one group take over?
93 million people? I mean, it's a
lot
of people.
One group.
It's not going to be one group. It's going to be people coming together saying, we need to take control of this, and we're going to find a compromise between our different ideals. And that's democracy. That's where, that's how it grows.
Or you could have balkanization and it splits up into a bunch of little countries with Kurdistan and this other group.
That's happened in the past too. Yeah.
That can happen. Yeah. And you can have civil war. I mean, all kinds of nasty stuff can happen, but, you do bad things, bad things happen. And
historically, what comes out of that is eventually peace, because
hopefully not always
the aggressors are they die or they come to an agreement and we
or they take over and they realize, I gotta rule this country somehow. Of course, you can have an outside group supporting them, like the old Soviet Union did with Cuba, so that even though they were gradually impoverishing the country into nothingness, they still stayed in power.
Yeah. U.S. Central Command announced Wednesday 10 vessels have now been turned around, and 0 ships have broken through since the start of the U.S. blockade on Monday. After implementing the blockade on ships entering and departing Iranian ports, American forces halted economic trade going into and out of Iran by sea.
So have we been seeing tankers going to other ports and coming in and out? That's what I'm wondering about.
They have been. They've been getting through.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Iranian ports are where the fertilizer is dispatched from.
I have no idea. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a specific mention of fertilizer.
I read it, but I can't remember.
I only read the one article. But I wonder how if the ships have just headed on south and tried to go around the
some have
Africa.
And some haven't. I believe
it's going to add a lot of time, but nowadays it's nowhere near like you were talking about, 1.5 years to get across the country.
Right.
It adds days to their.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
there's still ships going through the Suez Canal and
Yeah.
through the
Right.
Mediterranean and all that, but I don't hear much on how many. I mean, Saudi Arabia is using those waterways a lot.
And
But the Houthis are supposed to have at one time saber rattled and said they're not going to let anybody through. But
they
I don't know whatever became of that.
I don't
I
think
don't
they
know.
have.
We hit them pretty hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're fighting their own war.
it doesn't stop their rhetoric though.
Right.
It mentioned to when we said the red line, and Obama put the red line out and embarrassed us by ignoring it. Edward writes that Obama acted like the cops in England, and he sent me a little explanation. He said, in England, if you commit a crime, the police don't have a gun and you don't have a gun. If you commit a crime, the police will say stop, or I'll say stop again.
Well, they used to have their little billies,
funny.
their little clubs they'd have.
Although they have guns now, don't they?
Yeah.
Quite a few
Not-
do, but it's
Yeah.
Not all of them.
restricted.
And it depends on what part of Europe you're talking about.
Well, we're talking about the UK,
Yeah,
England.
UK, they don't. But
Yeah.
Germany,
I have
they
to say, I'm just going to mention as a fun thing, when I had a federal firearms license, a couple decades ago, I managed to snag a bunch of London police surplus Smith & Wesson revolvers.
Huh.
And that what the dealer, who I got to know a little bit because I made several orders from him, had said that the London police were converting from Smith & Wesson 38 caliber revolvers to Glock 9mm.
Uh-huh.
And he managed to snag them, the ones that, because they couldn't sell them in England. I mean, they're just, at that time, you still could theoretically own a gun, but the market was very, very small. So they exported them to the United States. And wonderful guns. Gosh, Smith & Wesson, that was like the classic revolver out there. And these were probably carried and stored a lot and not shot very much. And they were just beautiful, beautiful pistols.
Dirty Harry's type stuff.
No, they're
No, that was a
38
44.
caliber revolvers, and they were just the classic police revolver in the United States. I still have a couple of them.
A question from a listener: how did setting up a democracy in Iraq go for the U.S.? Actually, horribly.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Well,
but people don't mention that a lot of the reasons we had so much trouble in Iraq was because of Iran. Iran was supplying a lot of the roadside bombs, a lot of the weaponry. Now they had a lot inside Iraq as well, but Iran had become, I don't know, they still are quite influential in Iraq.
I think if Trump had been president, the pullout would have been totally different, and the current regime would have been at least supported with intelligence.
Yeah,
As it had been for like the 18 months before.
The pullout was under President Obama, just
Yeah, I
like
know.
Afghanistan. The pullout was under President Biden,
Yeah.
and both had bad results.
Yeah. And we would have never given up the air base under Trump.
You mean in Afghanistan?
In Iraq.
Oh, okay. But also in Afghanistan, we were going to hang on to that air base. Under Biden, it was given up first. Basram, I think is the name. But they were under the plan that President Trump had. We were going to hang on to that. Even
Well,
when
maybe
we
I'm
left.
thinking of Afghanistan, but no, that was under Biden.
Biden.
Okay,
yeah.
Biden. Okay, I'm confusing. No, it was Afghanistan that we gave up that air base.
And it was just absolutely a stupid strategic thing to do, was to give up that air base first.
right.
I mean, we should have.
and
been
then
the
wonder why we
last
didn't have
thing there.
security and people got
right.
killed.
And we had to get out of a civilian air base in Kabul, and it wasn't easy to secure, and we had problems.
People
It
died.
was just bad.
It was a fiasco. And who did Biden blame it on? That was Trump's plan.
Trump, that's
Right.
what he tried to
Trump-
blame it on.
But
Trump.
because he made the plan and I had to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I thought he was president.
Yeah, but my
Well, and-
understanding that wasn't the plan.
No, it
It
wasn't.
was that
from what?
in fact, Biden was advised by military. No, we got to go a little slower. We got to do this.
Right.
And he said, no, you must do this now.
Right.
I have to admit my theory on it, and I can't prove anything, but the Biden family did get hundreds of millions of dollars from the Chinese. So, and the Chinese benefited a lot from Afghanistan pullout.
Yeah.
You put the two together if you like.
I'm not saying nothing, but
Sandy sends me a note from President Trump, I guess it was on Truth Social, trying to get a little breathing room between Israel and Lebanon. It has been a long time since the two leaders have spoken, like 34 years. It will happen tomorrow.
Yeah, that's very positive.
Yeah.
Lebanon may join the Abraham Accords.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard that Lebanon is been pushing back against Hezbollah and been
Oh,
trying
yeah,
to-
absolutely. Hezbollah has been, this monster inside of Lebanon that basically the Lebanese government kowtowed to all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
But now they've been degraded enough by the Israeli strikes that, and the Israelis have been pushing the Lebanese to assert their own authority, and that's what's happening.
Right. They kind of like want to take their country back, is that it?
Yeah, exactly.
Who would know? Oil pricing, West Texas crude. This is from Edward, $90. So
Wow.
that's below 100.
Lower than the
It's
peak.
coming back down.
And Brent is 97.35. That's good. Markets are stabilizing as the U.S. is making up global supply shortages.
Yeah.
How long can we do that, though?
I don't know.
What's our capacity?
I don't know. But we're increasing capacity under Trump. We're increasing capacity all the time.
And how much of that's Venezuelan oil? I know that's got to be.
Good question.
That's got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And Canadian oil. We still have Canadian oil.
Oh, there's a huge supplier. Canada produces a lot of oil.
And the sooner we get this whole Iran thing settled, we can just open things up again like they were before.
See, I like your positiveness. Just as soon as we get not if. I like that.
No, we're gonna do.
I think that's going to happen. I agree with you.
Yeah,
Chris, that's going to happen, and I think sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Article says the police are going to flood the Orange Crush Island hotspot, which I had no idea what that was when I first read. It's in Georgia, and it's Tybee Island in Georgia, and apparently it's been a place for spring breakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good.
Isn't spring break over?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Ours is,
but this is a mass of teens, I guess. There's been this surge in nationwide teen takeovers.
Yeah.
Well,
it's part of the digital revolution because this spreads on social media.
Well, they chased them out of Fort Lauderdale.
Oh man, they changed the laws for that kind of stuff.
So the kids are all looking for a new place to go, and all you can do is move them. They're going to do what they're going to do. So,
well,
George is saying not here.
I'd like to see some pictures. I had been told, I don't know, that in Fort Lauderdale it was mostly a particular ethnic group. So
I doubt that because I remember when I was a teenager.
You were?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay.
But I was in Germany at the time, and all the DoD kids across Europe would swoop down to Majorca, and there were a lot of questionable stories coming out of that week in Majorca of everybody.
So you go down and introduce yourself to the German police?
I had conversations with the German police, the Polizei. And it was known the Polizei, they beat first, ask questions later. So you were very polite with them. You did not run from them. You obeyed every command that they gave you. And you usually, at least I did, walk away with no harm done.
Good.
So,
I think there's a lesson to learn in that.
There is a lesson to be learned there.
There was a lot of that in the U.S. too, but we've changed responses.
Yeah.
According to the Tybee Island Police Department, Emery Rudolph, in recent months, stories of so-called teen takeovers have popped up across the country.
I'm sure.
This phenomenon hit home just over a week ago when an unpermitted event on the beach was interrupted by the sound of gunfire. Now, as we approach the return of Crush Island Reload, members of our local and online communities have expressed concerns. And apparently, it used to be a problem with that island, the Orange Crush. It said early in the 1990s, Orange Crush had a reputation of being a wild, crime-filled weekend. And apparently, it had Chris was over there. And Savannah State University disassociated with the event in 1991 because of the high number of arrests and reported violence. 3 years ago, the event moved to Jacksonville, Florida. Due to the lack of resources, limited parking, civil rights violations, and political injustice, according to a story. Now now the website's been taken down that told that story, and the events returned to Tybee Island in 23, no longer in Jacksonville. They're not happy about it in Georgia.
Yeah, maybe it was Jacksonville I was thinking about, not Fort Lauderdale.
I think it's probably both.
There's been a few of them.
Yeah.
But that having that shot, that firing of the gun caused everyone to scatter and run. So other visitors on the island that were not involved with the teenagers got to see them, because some visitors are writing that there were like 15 girls came out yelling at us last night for no reason. We were here, but like it was the drunk white girls, just a cloud of white girls just walking around, apparently, because they got disturbed running from the beach, and they had to intermingle with regular visitors. They were not impressed. Brooke said drunk white girls.
That's funny.
According to the story here. Yeah. Now their local police department's going to do what they can to shut it down. They need to.
Yeah.
This is gone.
Yeah. It used to be just a fun cultural thing, spring break, go down and get crazy, but then it got really crazy, and things are getting out of hand, and you got to crack down on that.
I mentioned that crude oil, according to Edward, because he's doing the research. I'm on air. I'm not researching a lot right now. But he said markets are stabilizing as the U.S. is making up global supply shortages.
Yeah.
Also writes MS Now, which I have to get used to that. It's MSNBC for years. It's MS Now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Is
it? You don't know either?
It's like X, formerly known as Twitter. So now it's going to be MS Now, formerly known as MSNBC.
MSNBC wanted to distance themselves from it.
Yeah, with their prior reputation.
They have a breaking story that the U.S. service members are not being fed due to Iran stopping supply ships.
That's a load of crap.
Does that sound real?
In the first couple of weeks of the conflict, I saw reports that all the U.S. ships have been sunk and are fleeing the area.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the same nonsense.
So they named several undisclosed sources who stated that U.S. Marines particularly are only being given a fraction of their food calories.
That's a load of crap.
That doesn't even sound real.
An MRE, one MRE has enough calories for the day.
Yeah, it's like 3,000 calories. Or
that's
something.
if you're pretty active.
They're good. Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, if there's one thing that the U.S. military is good at in compared to almost any other, it's feeding our troops. It's emphasized. I remember in my training as officer, even though it was a long time ago, it was, take care of your troops, because they are who you need to get done what you need to get done.
Well, and for centuries, it's been known that military moves on its belly.
Travels on its belly. Yeah.
When you were talking about stabilizing the gas prices, was like a week ago when they announced that the price had dropped down to $95 a barrel, and I was like, "Oh, that's good." And then I was just wondering how long it's going to take to get to the pump. And yesterday, my daughter filled up, and she's complaining about how much. You said it was going to go down. I was like, I didn't know how long it would take to the pump. I said that.
Well, at least your daughter's listening to you.
She's
that's
listening.
Good. Yeah, that's awesome. Just looking at the gas prices, I filled up yesterday. I think it was $4.49.
It was $4.29 when I did it last night.
It depends on where you go. Yeah. It looks like Arco has $4.24.
Walmart was $4.29 last night.
Walmart was?
Yeah.
That's new. I mean, they've just opened up. So yeah.
What's interesting to me is we went by the Chevron and Circle K on 7E and Highway 95, and they were off by like 10 cents per gallon.
Right across the street from the other.
Yeah. I was like, that's interesting, because usually if they're close,
everybody matches.
They match. Yeah. But Chevron was 10 cents higher than Circle K. I was like, how did they get away with that?
I at times, and of course the price has gone up and down over the years. And at times I've seen as much as 30 or 40% difference in prices and stations that are pretty close together.
Yeah, if they're down the road, that's another thing. But if I'm looking at two signs, I'm going to pick the other one.
Arco seems to always be a little lower.
Yeah, they're about the cheapest around town.
Sam's Club is usually on the lowest side. I didn't know about Walmart. I haven't stopped in a Walmart since they started opening up these gas stations. I know they did out in the foothills. They opened up.
Yeah, they have one in the foothills, and we so needed it.
There's one being built on Avenue B at that Walmart.
I don't get down.
It's under construction. Well, that's close to my house. Yeah. So we'll see. There's not a shortage of gas stations.
Oh, yeah,
they're all over the place.
Yeah, you guys got them all. You know, we were really short on gas stations.
So Walmart's going to do a boom in business.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they focused on that one. They broke ground on Avenue B about the same time.
I don't know.
But they didn't build on it.
No.
You know, it just sat there with the fences up.
Well, we got a Circle K on the over there by the Foothills Walmart too. So, you know, somebody looked around and said, "Hey, we need gas stations," and everyone else was like, "Okay, let's go for it."
Well, I was surprised at what is it, Avenue 3E, where the Loves was built. The Loves was there for like 10, 12 years, and all of a sudden they built 3 trucks. They built 2 more in the last year. Big ones, big truck.
And Pilot is the best one because they got a Cinnabon in it.
Well, there you go. It's a Cinnabon one.
There you go.
It's got that. But Love's was the Lone Ranger on that corner
and they had competitive prices generally.
They really did.
And all 3 of them, if you go by there, they're
all busy. They're busy
all the time. Makes you wonder what was going on before they opened these guys.
Obviously, the Pilot and the other one, I don't know what, Maverick. Pilot and Maverick saw there was a need.
Yeah.
And they weren't wrong.
No,
they're all pretty much loaded.
And we see that a lot throughout Yuma. You know, the doctors' offices are always packed. We need more doctors. The private schools and the public schools are packed. We need more of them. We just need more.
We do.
Yuma is growing so tremendously.
You know, I talked to a friend the other day on something business, and he says, "Well, I can't think about it right now. I've got this skin cancer on my head that's growing." I said, "Growing? I mean, yeah, it's bigger and bigger." I said, "Well, I've had little patches, you know, like basal cell or something. It doesn't really grow much very fast. You know, my experience, just personal. I don't know much about it, but I said, well, you should see a doctor. He said, well, I have an appointment. It took me 2 months to get into a dermatologist. I said, well, call this phone number. You could do a walk-in. Just call Gemini Dermatology. It's right out by the sleep center, and they can take you as a walk-in." He said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, they're new in town. They do a great job. I've been in there. My wife's been in there. There's great service." And I called them to make an appointment at my wife's instruction. You know, she said, "You need to get that mole looked at on your back," which was fine, and it was fine. But she's right. Get it checked out. So I called them on a Wednesday, and they said, "Well, how about tomorrow at 9?"
No kidding.
No.
Really? Because I had a spot. I don't want to get checked out. I had to wait so long to get to the dermatology.
Spot fell off.
That it was, it cleared up. It was gone. So, but I wasn't gonna cancel that appointment. I was like, you know, it takes months to get into a dermatologist. So I went in. I said, my issue is gone. You can look at the spot where it was, but it's gone. But as long as I'm here, let's make sure that nothing else is an issue. But
I can tell you that the service at Gemini was extraordinarily thorough, good, and helpful and friendly.
So do you need to announce you are not being sponsored by Gemini?
Nope. I don't have any sponsorship with them whatsoever. I'm just a happy customer that went in there.
That's great.
And said that
we need that.
Yeah.
You know, Yuma needs just pretty much any specialist.
Well, Dr. Ertl's gone. I mean, we had some. Yeah. It's hard to get a dermatologist at times. And I imagine Gemini may be full at some point.
I'm sure, yeah. Because it's so hard to get in.
Right now, I guess. In fact, I saw him a week or so ago. I was in there with Helen, but they'll take a walk-in.
And it's not just the lack of services available; it's the lack of places for services to be available. If you try to find a business rental space in Yuma, you're looking and looking and looking and hoping something comes up. And
it is pretty packed.
Yeah, now that little strip mall that they put behind Chili Pepper on 4th and 24th. The day the construction workers walked away, the next day all 4 of them were moving in. It's just instantly, as soon as something's available,
right?
You know, somebody's in there. You know, we need so much more done in Yuma.
Well, why don't you build a building?
I'm working on it.
Someone will probably want it. But restaurants the same thing. But I hear a lot of restaurant owners complaining about lack of business. But then I go to other restaurants and you need a reservation or an hour or 2 wait.
If they have a lack of business, I'm thinking they have a lack of flavor.
They need to sit down. They need to sit down and look at their business model.
Yeah.
Well, the prices on restaurants have gone up quite a bit after COVID.
Oh, gosh, yes.
I'm not sure how much, 50%, 60%.
Well, the fast food industries I know have skyrocketed in price, and people are saying, well, if I'm going to spend that much, I'll go
a sit down restaurant.
Yeah.
Right.
And so McDonald's and Burger King and what is it, Wendy's and all of them, they've been doing, their cheap.
Yes, they've been doing
menu.
price adjustments.
But like the Big Mac is still like $8. It's insane.
Well, I got stuck in town the other day, and I usually go home for lunch. And I had to grab something, so I went to Burger King real quick.
Right.
And I got through with just a Whopper meal or something, and it got up there and it was $8.42. I said, no, I got the whole meal. And they said, no, it's the price. So I was all confused. I went back to my shop, and I said, this was only $8. They said, well, Russ, it's Whopper Wednesday. What is that? I had no idea.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was just shocked.
Yeah.
Because I figured it's going to be $12-15 or something.
Yeah. Which would have shocked me. No, it's just a burger. What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's like, Happy Meals. I remember they were 99 cents or $1.99.
Yeah.
I'm dating myself, but a Happy Meal, Dean, is $5-6.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can beat that. Back when I was 16, you could buy burgers at 19 cents a piece.
Yeah.
But I'm a little older than you.
Yeah. Not that much, but I remember, it was totally different.
Well, and that used to be the complaint was, McDonald's has the cheap food, and so the poor people can only afford that, and so that's why they have an unhealthy diet.
Well,
but now,
theory.
Now you get in it was specifically in the McDonald's quarterly report that they're losing their lower income customers because they can't afford to eat there anymore, and it's the higher income customers that are coming in, but there's not enough of them.
We have somebody in the White House that kind of sets an example.
Donald Trump.
That's hilarious. He's, he lays out a spread of Big Macs for people.
He does. He set up that thing to where he had a DoorDash arrive with a McDonald's,
Yeah, well, maybe we're heading the way of Europe. I mean, in Europe, a McDonald's is a pretty high-priced meal.
Well,
and you can get booze there.
Oh, I hadn't known. Yeah, it makes sense.
There's
how could you eat a meal in France without wine?
Yeah.
There's a story that came out yesterday about Donald Trump saying that Diet Coke cures cancer. I don't know if you guys heard that.
No, I haven't heard that.
Robert Kennedy, it was Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew was in and saw President Trump with a Diet Coke. And, he did not give it a favorable look or something. He says, no, Diet Coke's great. I pour it on weeds and it kills them and it kills cancer, And Drew thought that was hilarious and all that. And he said, and he had an Orange Crush the other day. I think it was a Fanta.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, it's fresh squeezed. And it's got to be good for you. Well, the press took it seriously. Like Trump is out saying Diet Coke cures cancer.
Yeah, I know. It's like the left has no sense of humor
at
all. I don't think Trump was serious.
No, it's a clear joke. There's sometimes his jokes are not as obvious, but that was an obvious joke. Yeah, I pour it on weeds, and it probably does kill weeds.
I would expect so.
I wouldn't think it's good for them. Gilbert asked me a question. He wants to know if I can mention the Saturday meeting with Keith Ware and Jeff Stoner at Izzy's at 8:00 a.m. Now, I don't really have time for that.
Izzy's is a great restaurant, though.
Is it?
Their biscuits and gravy is spot on. I like it a lot. So if you don't
biscuits
go for the meeting,
gravy, huh?
It's a good local company, local restaurant, mom and pop restaurant. Go for the restaurant. It's a good place.
Well, if you go at 8:00 on Saturday, you're also going to see the District 1 board president Keith Ware and board member Jeff Stoner.
Yep.
And they just got a listing as the sixth best grade school in Arizona.
Nice.
By an organization. I forget the name of the organization, but they put together as like the sixth best.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah,
that's good.
So that's out
both
the
of those
foothills,
are good
isn't
guys.
It? Is out in the foothills?
On Foothills Boulevard.
Yeah, Foothills Boulevard. It'd be worth the trip.
Yeah.
I've got another scheduled time to go to. I can't make it.
Yeah.
I mentioned this the other day about the hotels in Los Angeles. Mayor Bass signed a legislation that said they're going to pay $30 minimum wage to everybody in hotel industry and airport industry.
What the hell is going on?
Now, when you say they are going to pay, what you mean is the government is going to force the employers to pay that much.
That would be more accurate, Dean.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they're having specialized minimum wages. They had the specific minimum wage for fast food workers.
Except for Pantera bread.
You're right. Yeah.
Which is a friend of the establishment.
Well, there was a distinction. It was
if you make
food.
bread.
Yeah. If you make the bread. Yeah.
Yeah.
So restaurants were like, well, we're just going to start making bread.
I was going to say, bread maker is not too expensive.
So all they had to do was find some way to make a little biscuit or something. Boom.
Texas Roadhouse already does that.
Yeah.
They make all their own bread.
But
they didn't get the exemption. Only Pantera bread did.
I don't understand these unique fast minimum wages. It's weird. Minimum wage alone is
politicians gone amok.
It's all political power.
It's because they love people and you don't. That's what but they signed it, and I talked about it the other day a little bit. But there's something in an article today I didn't really think about, but it was pointed out about the timing of it all. Now they're not going to go to $30 immediately. They're going to wage $2.50 annually per hour until they reach 30, but it's got to be before 2028. So effectively pretty fast, $30 an hour. It's mentioned that Los Angeles will host a string of high profile global events coming. You've got the World Cup matches coming in 26 and the Women's Open Championship and the 28 Summer Olympics, all of them coming. Now, according to the American Hotel and Lodging Association, they said, for these events to succeed, hotels must be fully staffed, a task made increasingly difficult by raising labor costs.
Right.
And we've already seen an impact. I think about 100 restaurants have closed in the last year, and 6% of the workers have lost their jobs in less than a year. Times that by 4 more years of this, it's going to continue to have a negative ripple across the Los Angeles community. And already the hotels have listed them as a bad investment. Like they don't want to expand. They don't want to build. And if you're going to build a hotel, they don't want to build it in Los Angeles.
Well, and those events that you were talking about, those stop coming when your prices go up, or when people
eventually these are already booked. I mean, they're coming.
Hotels closed, so they don't have places to stay, and the ones that are available are too expensive. So, again, it's just bad. Decisions all
as much as I am optimistic about Elon Musk robots, I don't think they're going to be available to fill that void.
Well, maybe not. The American Hotel and Lodging Association points out that what they're causing is reduced hiring and significant cuts to total labor costs, delayed or canceled hotel investment development, reduced airline operations, and local restaurant closures, which already happened.
Right.
Now, the city pushed back. A council member, Hugo Soto Martinez, not the mayor. The mayor didn't respond. He's a staunch supporter of the wage hike, by the way. He said billionaire corporations spent millions of dollars trying to avoid paying their workers and provide them health care, and they failed. Now, instead of paying their workers a living wage, they're pouring even more money into misleading studies, ignoring independent findings that paying workers fairly would provide a massive boost to our economy. How much of a bubble is this Hugo living in?
Well, yes. I mean, and it's how do you determine what is, quote, fair?
Right.
How many businesses does Hugo run, you think?
None.
Yeah.
Well, and like you were just saying, the spike in the minimum wage for the restaurants has proven to not work. Got restaurants closing, people being, losing their jobs. And so, then let's do it for the hotel industry.
But we're electing guys like Hugo.
Yeah.
Well, they are. You're exactly right.
Well,
they're electing guys like Hugo that live in this bubble that think, well, if we just force the restaurants to pay out more money, it's going to be better for everybody, and it'll be a tide that raises all ships.
And it's easy to say, well, those California people are ridiculous, but even some of those California Democrats are going to run, and they're going to stop here, and that's going to be a problem for us, because then they're going to be bringing in some of those ridiculous ideas,
right?
And they might start electing people like this here. So,
and the problem with the minimum wage is just what we're seeing in California. If a $5 or a $10 minimum wages or a $30 minimum wage, why not just make the minimum wage $100
See,
an hour.
there you go.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd like
I mean,
Maybe
if it'll
$200 an
if it'll
hour.
bring prosperity, let's bring more prosperity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's not really reasonable to just force somebody to pay more money.
Right.
We have
'Cause-
been becoming more productive, and what it does incentivize is automation.
Yeah, it increases people losing jobs, increases businesses going out of business,
Right.
and it increases prices in the long run. So then you got to raise the minimum wage again. And I don't know what the cost of living is like in California. I know it's higher than Arizona, but $30 an hour is more than we're paying our teachers here in Yuma.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, $30 an hour is $60,000 a year.
yeah, and that's less. That's more than teachers make here in Yuma.
Right.
And that they want that to be the minimum
That
wage
would be awesome.
For certain
hotel
workers.
for
Well, airports and hotels.
Yeah.
So you can now clean rooms at the hotel for $60,000 a year.
Yep.
That would be awesome.
But you see, this is kind of a tax on other people, because the people that are paying it are people that are coming into the airport
Right.
and hotels at airports.
and I'm sure that's what their hope
Sure.
is.
It's kind of a tourism
'Cause
or
we have-
traveler tax.
Well, we have the luxury tax, here in Arizona.
Right.
We do that all the time.
Right.
But that is not, a minimum wage has a much bigger impact on the company than.
Well, that luxury
Than the
tax we have
tax.
is 2%. You mean
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not really luxury. It goes towards hotel. I mean, it goes towards civic center and parks, recreation, that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's low. I mean, other states have like a 10%.
Right.
That they jack them up.
And we have events happening in Arizona, so Go
We
figure.
do.
Well, it's kind of interesting. They had these really big events like the Olympics
Mhm.
scheduled for LA. And to me, what it looks like is the LA government just said, oh, we already got these people.
Yeah.
We got them in a barrel. We'll just jack up the prices.
Yeah.
And the problem when you get a Hugo out there that is running things, and he really believes, I'm sure, that these billionaire corporations are just greedy and they're trying to hold back and they're trying to keep people down and all that. Not true. They're creating jobs.
Well, there might be some, but
It could be. But really they're creating jobs,
Yeah.
and they want to create a job that people don't turn over. They want to do a good product. They're investing money,
Mhm.
and they'll just go somewhere else.
Well, and that's what we were talking about at the beginning of the show today is, trying to look for cheap, and industries go away and they fall apart, and we need to keep it local, and we need to keep things here, and the business owners know that if maybe I can make some more money now by automating or whatever, but in the long run, and that's what they look to is the long run, because they
Yeah.
want to stay billionaires. We need to have employees that are functional in society and can raise their families and things like that. And it's a balance. You gotta stay in business, so you got to be competitive with your pricing, but you also need to have workers that want to work there, that can live their lives, and can send their kids to.
Now, why do
Disneyland.
billionaires keep working anyway?
Well, I don't. I
Becomes
think
a
that's
habit.
a different word. It
And
might be a
some
different
have-
definition of work.
Yeah, and some have, goals they're trying to reach.
Right.
I would say the person that most gives an example of what you're talking about is Elon Musk.
Right. Yes.
I mean, he's created whole industries.
Yeah.
The electric car is basically a Musk phenomena,
Yeah.
with Tesla.
But-
SpaceX has completely
privatizing
changed
space.
what it takes to get into orbit.
Yep.
Starlink, you're going to have internet connections at relatively reasonable prices all
Yeah.
over the world. I suspect with Starlink, you're going to get phone service all over the world
Yeah.
through them before very long.
And I know Starlink people that are out in the middle of nowhere. They don't have any other options, and it's still a reasonable price.
And it's a good product.
Yeah.
The people I
They're
talk to
happy
that have
with
had it love it.
Yeah.
So, and Musk's goal, he says, I look where I think I can do something to improve people's lives.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's the
weird,
key.
right?
And then he starts looking at the physical constraints. What are the constraints down at the physics level?
Yeah.
And then he builds up from there, and he's had incredible success.
Yeah, and who knows what he's thinking up next?
Well, he talks about it a little bit. So,
Yeah.
we know that he's talking about putting a bunch of data centers in space because he says that the energy is free from the sun.
Right.
When you do solar power, it's 24/7, much more efficient than here on Earth. He's looking at getting the cost to orbit down another 90%. He's already reduced it at least 80 to 90%.
Wow.
So do you apply for a job to work on that data center?
No, I am a writer and I enjoy what I'm doing.
You have peace and quiet to do your writing.
Yeah, you got plenty of time.
Well, I don't know. I mean, by those data centers, because they have so much processing power, writers may be out of work. Maybe AI will be able to what I do faster than I can do it.
It could happen. I'm doing there's a game on my phone that I do right now. It's Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
Where the AI is the dungeon master.
Oh, well, that makes a lot of sense.
And I am just blown away by the creativeness, appearance of creativeness. From this AI. It brings up things I never would have considered. It has describes things poetically, and it's just.
Does it let you win?
Well, you don't really win at D&D.
Yeah, it's an experiential game.
Yeah, and the experiences it creates are phenomenal. I know that the AI is learning it from other people that have written things.
Sure,
but it's still taking all these pieces,
to thousands, if not tens of thousands of game masters,
and it puts it all together in a really interesting, creative way.
That's fascinating.
There's times it got so emotional in its description. I was affected. I was like,
you're like,
wow, and so as a writer, and I understand all these people in Hollywood and things like that are getting concerned about AI because it's a real concern. It's a real issue. It's already almost imperceptible from
in some areas it is. And I talked to my
it's only going to get more so.
Daughter, who's a Android programmer now, and she's constantly upgrading her skills because that's what you have to do when you're a programmer. And she says that now she is using AI tremendous amount in her work. And basically what it comes down to, this is my interpretation, she's supervising the AI to prevent it from making lots of mistakes.
The guy that runs Claude, the Claude AI, he said he hasn't written code in a year and a half. And that's what they do is they write code, but he's like, he uses his AI to write the code for the AI. He just tells it what he wants it to do, and it does it. So right now the decision is still being made by the human.
Right. Now my personal experience, and I've talked about it on the air before, is I use Grok 4.1, and it's a large language model.
Right.
So that's a kind of different than one that just writes code, or like the Musk model that drives cars is based on a different architecture, a different logical framework. But my, use of it is that you've got to be really careful because it'll lie to you.
Yeah.
I mean, not only will it lie to you, but then it'll support those lies.
Yeah. So only get that if you want to be lied to.
Well, you can use it, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to be very careful.
Because it's learning from whatever's out there, and whatever's out there is not always
a lot
reasonable.
of the large language models are kind of a mimic thing that they project to you what they think you want to hear.
Right. Yeah.
And so that can be a lie.
Yeah.
And but it was extremely useful for me to setting up a spreadsheet that I wanted to set up, because I hadn't worked with it a lot. And it says, well, here's the command you need to do this. And in that, it was spectacularly good.
Yeah, it's great at doing things that might take you a long time, but it's not necessarily a really complicated process. It can just, there it is. The people that are worried about it are the sci-fi where AI takes over the world kind of situation.
Well, and
that's GAI, general artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's not.
We're not there yet.
No, we're getting closer, and there may be limits. I'm kind of hoping there are limits, because otherwise humanity sort of becomes obsolete.
Well, it becomes Star Trek.
Maybe. I mean, we don't know. It's an unknown territory we've been going into.
It is, yeah. But every time we've entered an unknown territory, we've found ways to make it work.
Yeah, because we're still here.
Yeah.
But there could be a black hole we enter that we can't get out of. I think humans will be around for quite a while, because I think that even an advanced AI that could be way smarter than humans would probably find humans to be interesting.
Let's hope so.
Let's monitor these guys for a while. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. I said one time, and I wasn't really making a joke. I said, maybe God made us because it was boring without humans around.
I have played with that idea so many times because I have fiction novel ideas in my head all the time. And I was like, that would be an interesting take, you know. And I have one where, you know, a God was bored and just, I'm going to create something just to do it, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it doesn't seem to me completely off center. And I think God has a sense of humor, you know.
Obviously.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, look at
maybe
Russ.
that's why we have a sense of humor.
Edward sent me some listings of California fast foods that have closed or are closing due to this minimum wage crap. But Arby's drive-through, all California restaurants close.
Wow.
Carl's Jr., 65 California stores at risk under one franchise bankruptcy, plus 59 more California stores tied to another distressed operator.
Well, so far, I don't like either of those restaurants.
Farmer Boys, I don't even know them. Limited California exposure through one bankruptcy franchise, but not enough public detail to call it a statewide chain pullout. In-N-Out, just one notable California closure.
Oh, okay. Still, that's like
but that's the only one they've ever closed. Yeah.
That's a California icon.
They did all that after the minimum wage was announced. It says robotics in the restaurant business is the future. One robotic hamburger flipper is $21,000 and comes with 2 years of service. No wages, no employee taxes, no benefits, no sick, no holiday pay. Rosie the robot is here. And more restaurants are looking for more.
Getting better and better, yeah.
I don't doubt it.
I envisioned a hamburger vending machine.
Well, that's...
And I in my head, I put it all together. It's a possibility. You can do, you know, and that's all contained within a vending machine.
They do that in Japan a lot.
Imagine what you can do with a kitchen and robots.
Yeah.
Right.
The possibilities are endless.
AI mentions when an AI model lies, that is not the term to use. The proper term is that it has hallucination.
Yeah,
you do that.
I think that's correct.
The concept of lying is a human mode, and the definition is to be purposely misinform when an AI imagines data sets and does not see the difference between facts and fiction.
Right.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, I like it when he corrects you.
I do too. Yeah. I always think correction is very positive.
Because I know then he's leaving me alone. You know?
Well, whatever.
One of the listeners says Musk didn't create Tesla, which is true. Everyone knows that. It was founded by two engineers, Martin Eberhard and Mark.
Yes, it's true.
Tarpenning. Musk was not an original founder, though a legal maneuver he made a founder. Yeah, Mark's one of, I mean, Musk brought it.
But Musk is the one that brought it to the giant it is today.
Yeah, correct. I mean, he had that vision of like, hey, you got a great idea. Here's what we can do with it.
And it's true that the founders had a lot of positive things that Musk incorporated and used, and they were a great base for him. But you know, he had a lot to do with its success.
Yeah, the founders, I saw a documentary on them once. They really had this idea of making the sports car. The sports car is what they wanted. And that's what they did. That was the first.
The Roadster.
The Roadster. That was first, and a very exciting car. And, but Musk took that and developed, you know, all the other models.
Well, and there were things that he found people that were working on using lithium-ion batteries instead of lead acid, which is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And you needed that big jump in battery tech to make the Roadster work. And they put it all together. I mean, it wasn't just Musk. None of these big operations are one man.
Right.
No.
But it's his vision.
His vision and his ability to push, and he puts in these enormous amounts of hours. It's just incredible.
Now
he's willing to take risks.
And another example, Ray Kroc didn't start McDonald's, but he's the one that made McDonald's.
You're exactly right.
He had something to do with selling blenders or something.
And he saw this franchise
shake makers.
Yeah, I don't know if it was one restaurant or if they had more. I think it was just maybe
they had one. They had tried to franchise a little bit, but they weren't able to make.
Yeah, and he saw the opportunity, and he had the talent to make that work.
Yeah.
Right.
They have a movie about him called The Founder. It's just fascinating. But him and Elon Musk, they may not have started the company, but they're the ones that made the company what it is.
I think it's Einstein that said that he's only ever had 2 original ideas in his life, but he was able to take other ideas, put them together, and make something from it.
Yeah. And people look back at that and they go, oh, that's genius, but it was there for anybody to see. It's just the genius was seeing something that nobody else saw, seeing those connections, seeing those possibilities, and acting on them.
Yeah,
that's the true genius.
And I read an article, and I forget the name of the fellow. He's a billionaire, okay, and he has done innovative stuff. And he was talking about and he knows Musk. They know each other.
Mm-hmm. It's probably a small group.
And he said, I look at what Elon did, and I could have done that. But the risk he took.
Oh, yeah.
He took this enormous risk and put enormous effort, and it succeeded. Yeah. And I think he quoted Elon saying that he thought it had about a 30% chance of success, and it made it work. That was SpaceX.
He and his brother were like living on the, sleep on the floor of people's houses and stuff.
Right.
Trying, they went all in, and they earned what they accomplished. So.
Yes, absolutely. He is in my opinion, Musk is the genius of our age.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
A note here from Sandy sent forward this to me. It's from the Chairman, Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, on the heroic forces enforcing the blockade of Iran. He writes, our sailors maintain a constant watch, maneuvering the ship technically and safely through always congested water space. It's like driving a sports car through a supermarket parking lot on a payday weekend with thousands of kids in the parking lot.
Well,
it's quite a vision. There you go.
I understand.
He's got a talent for analogy.
That's interesting. I really like the people that Trump surrounds himself with.
Yeah.
Well, it's fascinating to see somebody who surrounds himself with the smartest, most capable people he can find.
Yeah, right. And
some people are afraid of that.
Yeah. And some of them have a working relationship with him for a year and they're gone.
Right.
But he moves on, and that doesn't mean he hates them.
Right.
Correct.
But, and that's always been the case. Administrations have always said, that person's leaving, we're bringing somebody else in. But, with Trump, he was like, oh, these are the best, these are amazing. He chalks them up. Right. And so then when one is released or moves on, they're like, oh, well, what happened? Did you turn on them? Did you hate them?
Not always. I mean, sometimes they have.
Yeah.
Oh, bad. But, sometimes.
That's what comes out in the media all the time is, Trump hated.
If he doesn't like them, you'll know it.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be on social.
He'll say it.
Yes, he will.
He'll say it.
But the other thing is that he is an extremely hard driver.
Oh,
and
I'm sure.
Trump, the pace that he sets is very hard to maintain. Yeah. And I think a lot of it is that people just can't keep up that pace for year after year after year.
Yeah. It's got to be grueling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the people he puts around him, a lot of them are billionaires themselves, millionaires. They're on his cabinet and stuff. Yeah. They're not getting paid extra.
No, a lot of them
to be on that.
They give up.
Yeah, they do.
I would suspect some of them are like, oh, this is a paid gig? They're not there for the money.
They got to do it for love of country or something. Not all of them do it. I mean, there's politicians out there that are taking on positions because they know they can get inside information or get something to increase their wealth or hold somebody hostage. I don't know.
Well, and a lot of the billionaires today are self-made.
Yes,
and they tend to be extremely smart.
Yeah,
and they can look at the country and say, we need change. We need to change where we're going. We need to make it better.
But for a guy like Musk to take on that job, he didn't make more money.
No.
In fact, he lost. I mean, his stock went down, a lot of loss. He didn't get he got it back, but it wasn't for anything like that.
All right.
And some people, a lot of the negative press was, well, he's doing it because he wants favorable legislation for Tesla. Well, Trump took off the rebates.
Right.
Well, it was not favorable, but Musk had said for years the rebates weren't necessary. They were helping his competitors more than him.
Yeah.
See, that's exactly it. Taking off the rebates was favorable to Musk.
That's why he did it.
I mean,
you look through it.
You just had it backwards. I'm being sarcastic.
Right.
Sometimes over the air you have to say it, you're being sarcastic. Not everybody has a good sarcasm detector.
But even people like Pam Bondi, not a billionaire, but her ability to make money on the private side
was higher than
much higher,
tremendously higher.
Well, and it's when you're not involved in the politics, it's easy to say, oh, they're just going up there for their own advantage. But now that I've gotten into the politics over the last few years and I've gotten to know people, I mean, I know Tim Dunn personally. He recognizes me, I recognize him. He's not in it for glory or making wealth. He believes in taking care of the community, and that's the best way he can do that, and that's what he's doing.
Right.
We got Michael Carbone, Cupper, just all these people, and even down to the local level, you got Michelle Pena down there working hard in San Luis. All these people that really care
Jeff
about
Stoner,
their community.
Dave, veteran Dave, as well as Mark,
and and it makes you wonder about your vision of these other politicians out there.
Well, a lot of people are jaded and say all politicians are crooks. And well, it's not true.
All right. No, I know them. Yeah. I am one of them.
I probably know some that are crooks.
It's just it changes your, and I encourage people the more I get into the politics, I encourage people to get into it, go to meetings, talk to people.
You meet great people. It's interesting.
You meet the politicians that you're concerned about. I've talked to some of the Democrat politicians that are around, to get their take on things, and some of them are really decent people. They just have different ideas.
Some of them won't talk to you though.
No, some of them are a little bit.
It strikes me that the U.S. is better at this than almost anybody else.
Well, nobody else is really doing it the way we're doing it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe some smaller countries, Iceland, maybe. I don't know.
And I've been frustrated over the years of how slow things happen. I'm like, just do it already. I promoted the idea of a king-like presidency.
Yeah. And then you look at it,
and then you look at it, well, that's not a great idea. But Trump is finding that balance between getting things to happen without overpowering the government with the executive office, and I appreciate that.
I agree. I think Trump is more cognizant and careful about staying within constitutional limits than many other presidents.
Oh yeah,
especially I would say Biden and Obama.
We got a call from Carl. Let's take
Carl.
that. Yeah, Carl, good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to thank Chris for saying it 100% about our great candidates that we have running for the Republican Party. So thank you. Yeah. That's my 2 cents for the day, Chris. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl.
So anyway, that's like I say, my 2 cents, but it's very important for people in the Republican Party to get out and vote for these great candidates.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You all have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Take care, bud.
Yeah, we can't forget the voting part.
Yeah, and it's especially with a midterm election, it's so essential to get out there, vote.
And right now things are in turmoil because of the Iran and there's some people out there that are questioning Trump and all that. Yeah. And Iranians know that. Well, he might pull out because he wants to protect
the midterm.
And amazingly, he went into this thing knowing the midterm, it's going to cause pressure, it's going to cause problems. I admire him for that. He's not running. He didn't go in because of politics.
Right.
There was other reasons. It wasn't because I want to put myself politically in an advantage. It doesn't.
Sometimes when I'm concerned about the midterms, I'm like, well, maybe he should have been a little bit political.
Well, of course, of course.
Well, I look at it a little differently. I think that Trump is farsighted enough. He could say it was a bit of a gamble. I don't think you could know how incredibly we outmatched the Iranian military. I don't think that was precisely known when he did it. And it was sort of a pleasant surprise when we didn't lose virtually any aircraft. I mean, now we lost one. Yeah. I mean, some coming back and one in Iranian airspace.
That were shot down. Now we lost 3 over Kuwait.
Right. But I mean, it was just incredibly overmatched. I mean, it's like 1,000 to 1. It's just.
Well, I did expect that.
And that.
Well, that's right after Venezuela. You talk about risky Venezuela. And
that was the gamble. But when you see what happened, then it looks like, okay, we can get all this done and we can get it done before the midterms, and the price of oil will fall before the midterms and everything starts falling into place.
It is. Yeah, it's a gamble. Everything he does is a gamble.
The guy that was shot down, the pilot and the weapons systems officer was shot down. They lost that one airplane, but then in rescuing those guys.
They
We lost 2 C-130s. We
Right.
lost 3 of those little birds. We lost
Right.
one A-10 that couldn't make it back to land
Oh.
unsafe. So he bailed out over the water. So that was costly.
Mm-hmm.
But I think everyone, I think the military agrees, that was just equipment. We got the guys out.
Right. Yeah.
But you talk about risky.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard anywhere from 150 to 300 guys were involved in that rescue.
I heard 150.
Yeah. But look how many people they put in harm's way to get that one guy, which
and Dean, I'm
amazing.
sure will back me up on this. That's how you get your troops to be willing to engage, is knowing that you've got their back. If anything goes south, we're going to do everything we can to get you.
I wonder how many military personnel came forward and said, "Oh, this is an illegal request of us to go get this Wizzo, so I'm not going to do it." I don't think.
Doubt it.
Not in active duty troops.
No.
And if they did, they'd be gone.
Yeah, well, then we know they would be listening to like Mark Kelly.
I suspect that with this operation, we have some of the highest morale we've had in 20 years.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Edward sends a few notes on things we've been talking about. Ray Kroc saw the value of owning the real estate that McDonald's are built on. That's interesting.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Musk saw the value of certain technologies. I think true.
Mm-hmm.
I found a Nazi to whip my offices into shape. Not really a Nazi. I know the Carrie. I know of her. I've never met her personally, but she's tough on him. So he calls her a Nazi playfully, or maybe it's real. I don't know. I don't know. I think she's a Nazi.
That sarcasm. No.
Exactly. Yeah. He should put a sarcasm tag on
a sarcasm tag. Yeah. I think she's Australian. I don't think she's German even.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
A lot of Germans descent in Australia.
And he makes a note here. If you find yourself being the smartest in a room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah. I agree with that.
I agree.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
See, I like to be around smart people.
Right, really? Yeah. Oh, no, I agree with that one now.
Yeah.
But I think Carrie knows that he calls her a Nazi. I think so. I don't know how she couldn't.
It's hard to believe.
If she doesn't before, she does now.
Edward has told me before that he pretty much fires her every day and then rehires her. But I guess there's something to his management style that's aggressive. I don't know. Las Vegas. Dean and I talked a little bit about this. Do you know who Rick Harrison is? The gold and silver pawn shop in Vegas.
Is that the TV show guy?
Yeah. He did that guy. That
what
guy.
Is that? I forget the name of the show.
Yeah. Something to do with the pawn shop.
Yeah.
I think it was
Pawn Stars.
Pawn Stars. Is that what it was? Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Harrison has become a public figure
Right.
because of that show. Is one of Sensibility. So he was a contributor to this article, or wrote this article on Las Vegas is scaring off tourists. Which I've been hearing a lot.
Really?
They've readjusted, and I like Vegas. I haven't gone in years, but I love Vegas. But I used to take the family there even.
Yeah.
At one time they were developing for children.
Family friendly.
That's all gone.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
That didn't work. So
I liked it. It worked out well for us. We
were up there once. My wife went to a convention for her profession. And so we went we went to the north side of Phoenix where the normal people live.
The normal
Phoenix
people.
or Vegas?
Vegas.
With Main Street there?
Huh?
You went up to Main Street?
I don't know
out in the rural areas?
Well, the part that doesn't have all the casinos and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I lost more money at the Family Fun Center
Really?
I ever lost at a table.
That's funny.
They don't give you any chance to get it back over there.
The prices for like Vegas. Food and such have really gone up, and now they're charging for parking and
that's what
and that's what I heard is they're reducing all the comps that they used to give out to people. How are they scaring people?
Well, Rick Harris says you give customers what they want and they return.
Right.
A lot of hotels on the Strip, they're not hospitals where you go. They're not hospitals where you have to go to them. They are choicers out there. So they're changing their prices around. He said some of the casinos that are really hot are always packed, such as a Circa Resort and Casino, are always busy because they don't have crazy prices on everything.
Right.
I don't have crazy prices. And talk about his own pawn shop. And that's what some other casinos need to do. Some casinos have always been doing that, and that's why they are doing well. I think the ones that are high priced and go after the whales and the billionaires, I've heard their attendance is down, but their profits are up.
Well, if that works, I mean,
that works.
It's their business; they can do it.
He says, "I have a pawn shop. I changed it into a tourist destination," which he did. Many people go there because of the TV show, and people for years. You get thousands of people a day at the store. You should charge them something. I'm going no, because I want them to come to the store.
Right.
Don't charge them.
Right.
Making trips to the Vegas, he said, and Sin City more attainable for more Americans. I want to make sure all of my visitors have smiling faces, that they have a great time. So when they go back to Ohio or Alabama or something, they tell their friends, next time you're in Vegas, you really should go to Rick's Pawn Shop. But they have changed it. They've changed it a lot. And he thinks that Vegas is in trouble.
Oh.
That
I haven't been up there for a while.
I haven't been up there.
They have that one street that's got this cover over it.
That downtown street.
Yeah.
The old section. Yeah.
That was really cool. Yeah. It had an outdoor feel to it, and it wasn't completely outdoor because it's got that cover over it, and they've got they display things on it, videos and things like that, light show kind of stuff. It really was a lot of fun.
Right.
Just to be in that environment, just hanging out, but there's all kinds of things to do there. That revitalized, because everyone was on the Strip before, and that brought people back down to the downtown. And I don't know what they're doing now that he's concerned about, but I currently would love to go back.
I've been there. I go there about once a year professionally to cover the SHOT Show, which is the biggest industry show for firearms industry in the world. And the show itself is fantastic. I mean, you can't possibly cover everything. It's just tens of thousands of exhibits, I think. And there are, there's even just the industry day at the range, which happens right before the SHOT Show. And you have to have an invitation to go to. I've been fortunate enough that I've been given an invitation for the past few years. It's just too much to cover. I mean,
but if you found the price, you don't stay at the casino. You stay
exactly, and that's where I was going to go. Is that I found that I didn't like staying in the high-priced casinos that are part of the SHOT Show. I mean, they're all under one roof, and because it was so restrictive. First off, your car is parked half a mile away through tunnels and escalators and going around and everything. And it takes
you pay for it now.
And you have to pay for that parking. And then, so you don't have access to anything in your vehicle that you didn't carry with you to a high priced room where they charge you $25 a day to connect up to the internet, and where anything you touch potentially is going to cost you more.
Right.
You don't have free water. They don't have, everything is part of you pay more for.
Right.
I mean, and to me, it was just highly restrictive, and I didn't enjoy it. And even though it was, it was a beautiful suite, wonderful view of the city, I prefer my, $50, $80, whatever it is now, cheap motel room, because my car is right outside and I can go anywhere I want quickly, and I have access to everything I brought with me.
So, but to get to the hotel, to get to the show, you just take a taxi, you walk?
I drive, and then I pay the parking price.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And then by the way, I'm reimbursed for that. So
okay.
It used to be that the hotels and restaurants in the casinos were
less
cheap
expensive. They wanted to draw people in,
and they were going to get your money at the tables.
Yeah.
Yes.
One where they were going to get your money. They knew that.
But now they charge the cost of food inside the venues that I would go to was a bit higher. It wasn't impossibly higher, but it was a bit higher than I could get outside. But even outside, of course, it's hard to measure because my standard of measure is pre-COVID. So I'm paying $15 for one entry, entree, I should say. But that's kind of normal now.
Right. Yeah. I think what they're, and businesses shift philosophies all the time. It was, we're going to get them in and we're going to get their money at the table, and we're going to use cheap hotels and restaurant to get
draw
them in.
People. Right.
And then they're like, well, people are coming anyway. We don't need to entice them. So let's charge them for the hotel and the restaurant. And now with the, statements like this is you're killing Vegas, it might shift back.
It's a consistent thing I've heard. I mean, a few times, and it's not like I've heard hundreds of times, maybe half a dozen times. I like the city better when the mafia ran it.
Maybe one of the
as long as you weren't counting cards, it was great.
One of the casino owners, Derek Stevens, was interviewed. He said Canadians visitors are down anywhere from 20 to 50%, depending on what month you look at over the course of last year. Harrison said he's seen a decline in Asian tourism right now. I don't think that's necessarily about Vegas. I think that currency issues and economic issues, rising gas prices driven by oil hovering nearly 100 per barrel amid the war with Iran are creating uncertainty for the summer tourism season. Gas in Las Vegas is over $5 a gallon. The problem is we get our gasoline from California refineries, which that's where Yuma gets it.
Yeah, we do
so it's
too.
coupled with a couple of dollars less in California because dollars has got crazy tax on everything. This is still the greatest city in the world. It's amazing to live here. That's nice from someone like him. He lives there. He said, I will talk to my wife and which concert would you like to see this weekend? It's not like most cities where you wait for a band to come to town. There's always something going on.
Yeah.
And there is. And when I had an airplane, I would, just say, like, we're not doing anything tonight. Why don't you just fly to Vegas real quick? And we would. Yeah. Just go to Vegas because it was not expensive. I had the airplane, just land in Henderson and grab a car and spend a couple days in Vegas real quick. But that's gotten outrageous now. We used to find deals. I don't think deals are readily available.
Well, and there's small spots off the strip. I think this kind of attitude might give them an opportunity to grow and develop maybe a little bit more. So.
I used to like staying at Southside Casino. It was on the strip, but way south.
I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay, go ahead.
We're headed into a golden age.
Yes.
And with energy is going to become even cheaper than it has been before.
Probably.
And Vegas will, at some point in the future, once again become a cheap place to go and have fun.
Yeah.
I don't know when, maybe 10 years.
If you're not gambling. Because gambling is always expensive.
See, my attitude is that I'm always gambling.
Yeah.
I mean, life is a gamble.
Life is a gamble. It is. Yeah.
But the games in Las Vegas, they are mathematically fixed for you to lose.
Except blackjack. Well, yeah, blackjack,
but
then, you have some control over that.
Yeah.
Poker is straight up you against the other players. So poker is cool.
You can, but there's the house percentage. The house always wins because they take a percentage out of every pot.
Out of the pot, yeah.
And so, but there's plenty of games you can play.
We have a caller I got to get in.
Oh. Okay.
It's our fact checker, Edward. Good morning, Edward.
Good morning, or very good morning early for you guys.
Yeah, it's early.
I received a phone call from those down under. She was listening. Yes, well, she is rather upset, as she told me that I used the term Nazi about her.
Oh, is that brand new for you?
And I said to her, why are you upset? You've only done this for decades. And she said, she watched a documentary on the Nazis' rise and fall. And she'd like to point out she's never fallen.
I think that's a good point.
Maybe that we should stop calling her the Nazis and refer to her simply as the Nazis as carriers that didn't follow the directions.
Well, you let me know what the new tag is.
I'm not sure what we call her. I mean, we already call her, a lot of the time, God. She always seems to know everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And, we don't want to have, a Trump issue. I was going to mockingly put her in a Mary outfit, like Trump did with Jesus. But her husband teaches economics and theology, so probably not a good idea.
That wouldn't work.
I just know that anytime she's ever texted me or requested anything, I always stand up immediately and take it, because your description of her has made me fear.
Well, we all jokingly do the Dr. Strangelove, how I love to love the bomb.
Yeah.
Salute. Where you grab your hand and you push it back down again when she comes into the room or she talks.
But you keep her by choice, Edward. I might point that out. You know, because you. I
I would like to point out that she keeps me by choice.
Okay. All right.
If I were to call down Human Resources and say that Carrie was terminated, they would laugh. If she were to call down and say that I was terminated, the security guys would show up.
I thought you terminated her every day and then hired her back. I didn't know.
It's been about 6 hours since the last time I terminated her.
Okay. Well, it's
The
a great.
question is termination with love.
Good.
There it is.
Well, I'm glad you straightened that out. So
No wrong fear.
we're gonna have to find a new handle for her.
It was her. She would tell me, and I heard someone say, was she German? No, she is Irish, born outside of Cork, the same county my family's from.
All right.
But she fell in love with an Aussie and moved down to where the country appeased her, Nazi reference, and let her move in with her husband. And she's now gained Australian citizenship.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of hard to move into Australia. At least it used to be at one time.
If you have money, it's not hard.
Yeah, they also said that Hitler would have a hard time moving into France. That didn't take too long.
Okay. Good point. Point well taken, man.
So it's the little things in life you have to be careful of. But I wanted to make sure that I expressed her opinion and that we shall abide by the Führer and all of her requirements.
Very good. Führer from now on. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice you straighten that out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to get on the wrong side of her.
Well, that makes sense.
I've never met her personally, but some tells me I don't want to.
Well, as I was saying, life is a gamble.
It is.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I prefer to gamble in things that I have some control over.
Right,
and you don't have a lot of control over most of the Las Vegas games.
No.
But if you want to gamble, go to the stock market,
Yeah.
Wait. Now, some people don't think that's a gamble. Edward doesn't think it's a gamble.
Well, I think it's one of
Depends
the
on-
lowest risk gambles. If you like, I mostly have retirement funds in an index fund. Well, that went up and down about 10% just recently, but I didn't worry about it.
Yeah. In the
See,
long run, it's not a big deal.
Edward knows math, so I think he likes the stock market. He tells me that buying lottery tickets are for people that don't know math.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people have claimed it's a tax on the ignorant.
Yeah. When I teach probability, I said, if you get nothing else out of this segment, don't play the lottery.
But somebody's got to win, Chris.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to win.
They always say you can't win if you don't play. You can't lose if you don't play either.
Well, that's right. And I don't know if you read about the guy, I'm thinking is from Serbia, Albania, whatever, is a mathematician in that block of Eastern Europe around there. And he was studying the American lotteries. And there's several of them. There's not just
Right.
one, many different systems. And he came up with a theory about how if there within the lottery, it's going to be a point where you can buy up virtually all the tickets and you're assured of winning at a profit.
People have done that before.
He did it.
Yeah.
And he retired from it, but he set up a whole system. You had to recruit hundreds, thousands of people to buy the tickets when the time was exactly right. And he did it and he made a lot of money. He succeeded.
I saw a documentary on that, and they I don't know if it's the same dude, but apparently one of the people that he recruited to do the because they had boxes of tickets that they had to just scan through real fast, and somebody for one reason or another wasn't able to get their box to the station where they were going to
I always have problems.
And so even after all of that, there was a chance that the winning ticket would have been in that box.
Yeah, that's possible.
But
your chances really drop when you get most of the tickets.
They got all of them.
But when you have millions of dollars on the line now, that could be a big deal.
Right. I mean, you had to play big to win big.
To go through all that and still at the end of the day be worried.
Yeah, I remember when I was, and I don't think it was a book. I think it was an article online that I read about. Probably the same thing you did. And yes, there was he wasn't able to quite corner everything.
Right.
But they still won. And
a lot of them nowadays, they'll have restrictions on how many tickets can be
purchased
and things like that.
They had to do that for that guy.
Yeah.
You know who Baby Jessica is?
Yeah, I heard about that on the news the other day.
Yeah, she, the Baby Jessica was big in 1987.
Well, she was small, but she was a big story.
Yeah, she was 18 months old.
Yeah.
where she fell down a well.
Yeah.
And the whole country, the world.
Everybody was watching it. Yeah.
It took her 58. It took 58 hours to get her out of that well.
Wow, really?
Apparently, it was very small diameter that she slipped down. It was 22 feet underground. They had to build a well next to her to get somebody into, and then tunnel over to her without collapsing. They say it was 8-inch wide.
Yeah, so it was probably a well pipe. It was probably steel, and that's really hard to work. It's not like you can, put a drill bit down and drill into her to pull her out. That's not what you want to do.
No, they had to build another shaft.
Yes, exactly.
To go down next to her.
And they have to be very careful because you don't want vibration to disturb it, and that she might fall further.
Yep.
Right.
All kinds of really horrible things.
The whole public learned all kinds of stuff about engineering.
Yeah,
because they were talking every night on the news. They were talking about
they obviously saved her. She did have to go through, I didn't realize at the time, but she had to have some surgeries or something. I guess she had some injuries that were taken care of and all that. But the reason she's back in the news is she was just arrested in Texas for domestic disturbance, assault causing bodily injury involving family.
Yeah.
Poor child. She must have been scarred.
I think it was a trauma. It was trauma from 1987, maybe, that caused all that.
Let's see, 87 to 20.
So she grew up just to be a regular person.
Yeah.
Well, we all have problems.
I read little things like there was a lot of money given to her at the time. There were some fundraisers and all that stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
But now she's just a regular, housewife living in Texas with assault charges on her.
Well, I don't know enough about the story to comment.
Yeah. It's
just a curiosity.
So she was, and she got visited by presidents and stuff. People want to see her. She was that well known. In fact, at one time her popularity was higher than like movie actors and stuff. People would know her name.
Well, at the time she was very young, right?
18 months.
So she wasn't even, barely talking and walking.
Yeah. There was a Pew Research Center for the People and the Press in 1997 that measured coverage of Princess Diana's death. Earlier that year found that in the previous decade, only Jessica's rescue rivaled the Paris car accident.
I can believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. It was that
it was a huge deal. Yeah. And since then, there's the kids, that soccer team in the cave in Chile. You got
I forgot about that one.
The mine workers in some other country. It kind of started a trend of
following those stories,
following things like that.
Well, they're scary.
It's a dramatic thing to have a big rescue operation.
She was the first one I remember that really got people's attention. So.
Well, it got big attention, and Vice President George Bush, his wife Barbara, they visited. Ronald Reagan called, so she grew up. She grew up being a media darling.
Yeah,
that's a dangerous place.
Sure, yeah.
I'm sure she got a lot of attention, got money for some reason. She didn't know what to do with.
I don't know. I mean, because she's so young at the time. Was she even that much aware of what was going on?
Probably not. She just thought that was normal life.
I mean, I doubt that this extended more than a year.
Right.
Well, I think the popularity could extended. It kept going.
I don't remember anything after it. Once she was pulled out, we're like, yay. And then we went about our lives.
Well, even 10 years later, they said it was still top of mind more than Princess Diana.
Well, I think when you were reading it, I took it as at the time it was bigger than at the time with Diane.
That's the way I took it.
Maybe. Yeah. Do you know Anna Paula Luna, the representative out of Florida?
I've heard the name.
I would have no reason to know her.
She's taking credit for the efforts to have Eric Swalwell resign.
Oh,
which it may be fair because she had a petition drawn up to have him removed.
And
apparently Swalwell resigned just before the deadline where she was going to have to turn it in. She says, I'm very confident the votes to expel Sheila McCormick, which is next, is going. She's got the amount of people, so 2/3. Apparently, she's glad Swalwell's gone. She wanted to get rid of was it Gonzalez? All that, and now she's going after others. I guess she wants to be known as
clean
that.
House. If you
that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to do some research on the Gonzalez race.
Yeah.
because the top candidate to take that spot is a well-known firearms YouTuber. He's very popular and made a name for himself. And he said if nobody else is going to run to get rid of this guy who he viewed as not being sufficiently ardent in his support for the Second Amendment, and I think he was correct. And 2 years ago, he came within just like 500 or 600 votes of getting the spot. And this time he succeeded. He had not 50%, but more than what the sitting congressman had, who is Gonzalez, who has now said he's leaving the House.
Yeah,
and so he was going to be in. It's about a 60% Republican district, so he had an excellent chance. Almost certain he was going to be elected. Right. But now that Gonzalez has resigned or is resigning, Abbott is going to have a special election.
I know, which is so quick.
And I'm going, well, what's happened? We have this primary to choose, the two candidates, one Democrat, and I think there's only one Democratic candidate on the primary, and then the Republican, and there's only really, it would be wrong to say there's only one because there were some minor candidates, but they went in the pre-primary to winnow it down to two candidates, of which Gonzalez was one, and he's dropped out. So there's only really one Republican. So I think Abbott should appoint the Republican primary winner.
They can.
Why not?
It's a House.
It's a vote. You're right. You're right. It's an election.
Right. Senate they appoint.
Yeah.
But I would think he should be one of the people running.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they would even need to do a special election because they're going to be electing somebody in November.
Russ corrected me and said that it's required that they have a special election.
Really?
Yeah, but this late date, I don't know how they squeeze it in.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about.
It doesn't seem practical.
Yeah.
Well, they have to have a special election. They can't appoint. Right. But at this late date, would they
could they just say we're just going to wait till November? No,
I don't know.
That would seem more feasible.
Yeah. I would think practically
like
that's what they would do. Yeah, maybe.
November?
This
it's only 6 months away.
Let's see. Well, it depends
on
April.
We're in April.
This
they don't want the seat to go empty very long. This Sheila McCormick that Luna mentions, I didn't really know much about it. I guess I wasn't paying attention. Well, there's a momentum right now for expulsion after a House Ethics Subcommittee found McCormick guilty of more than 24 ethics violations and marches, including allegations related to stealing millions of disaster relief funds to finance her congressional run.
Yeah,
she's also facing a separate federal criminal indictment that could result in more than 53 years in prison if convicted.
Geez, stealing emergency
that doesn't sound
funds.
like a questionable.
She's not Somali, right?
To get rid of her.
Well, now there's no, she's not. The Representative Craig Stubbe is expected to introduce resolution to expel McCormick after the House Ethics Committee issued its recommendation next week. But McCormick says she would not resign despite the threat of removal. This is not the time to abandon the district. Like she's doing it for the children.
The House can expel her, but I don't know. It's really tight. I mean, would the Democrats go along with it? I would think they probably would.
According to Paulina Luna, a lot of Democrats have voiced their frustration, and she thinks she's got enough people. But what people saying what they actually do at the last minute,
exactly.
Don't know.
I'd like to see a lot more of that. Ethics investigations.
We've had a few of them now. Yeah. Look at this.
Because that's what we were talking about a little bit ago. People don't have any confidence in their elected officials. That could help build that confidence. Look, we're going to police ourselves. We're going to get rid of the bad apples, and open up seats for people that are representing you.
Everyone's gets rid of their bad apples unless it's their bad apple.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it appeared that
this was
kind of one-sided, and they tended to go after Republicans more than Democrats for decades.
It has that appearance.
Well, I saw something online the other day of somebody was saying, they're taking, they're dumping on Swalwell. But this Gonzalez guy, he did the same thing. I was like, well, no, it wasn't quite the same thing. No. But they were saying, oh, just because he's a Republican, they're leaving him alone. I was like, One, it wasn't the same thing. It wasn't multiple people, and he wasn't raping them.
He had an
And he
affair.
wasn't
He
running for governor of
Right.
California.
He had one affair, and that affair ended badly. She took
she's-
her own life, but
Killed herself.
yeah, that's not the same thing. And then it turns out they weren't ignoring him. They
Right.
were coming down on him. They just weren't doing it as publicly because he, like you said, he wasn't running for governor.
And
didn't
not only
need to
that,
be.
he wasn't even running for re-election in his district.
Oh, it wasn't even doing
No,
that? Yeah.
once the ethics investigation started, he put out they said, we're coming after you, essentially. And he said, I will not be running for re-election.
Well,
And he refused to even run in the primary, the runoff primary that he and gosh, I should remember his name. Can't think of it right now.
But it's clearly not a
No, they
party
weren't ignoring
issue.
it.
It was, yeah.
Well, a lot of commentators have put out theories that they went after Swalwell when they did, because a lot of people are saying it was a well-known secret.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's what it sounds
everybody
like,
knew
yeah.
that this stuff was
Well,
going on.
even Gallegos said he had heard about rumors.
Oh my gosh, did
Yeah.
you see Gallego? He looked like
Yeah, he
so
looked nervous.
agitated
Yeah.
during that interview. He looked arms crossed and looked defiant. But he was
Well,
speaking out very much. I
said
didn't know.
before-
I don't know anything.
He said before, arms crossed was the Marine technique of de-escalation. That's what he
that's
said.
not true. Is that true?
That's what he said.
How does that create de-escalation?
When he ambushed somebody in the halls of the offices, and he's standing there with his arms crossed. Oh,
Yeah.
that was just a sign of de-escalation.
I've never heard that, but
No, it's not a real thing. It's not a
Okay.
real thing. He
I'm not
made
a
it up
Marine.
completely. No,
Yeah.
but here he is standing there, arms crossed again. So clearly
But
he was
I've-
de-escalating.
I've read many theories about Swalwell that they came forward when they did. Because the question is, why now?
Well, he's running
If
for
you
governor.
don't, why now? Well, it's because of the race in California. And there were so many Democrats in that it looked like two Republicans were going to get the top of the ticket.
Right.
So by eliminating Swalwell, it instantly adjusted to where it's going to be one Republican and one Democrat.
Well,
It
maybe we
increased the
don't know how
possibility,
that's
yeah.
going to go.
That's what the polls are showing right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But it probably
We don't know what'll happen.
No, we don't.
And
But-
even without the politics involved, the women that he assaulted would be seeing him on the news saying, "There's no way in hell I'm going to let this guy be governor." And so
Possibly.
they could have come out just on
But
their
they
own.
have come out, they've tried to come out
They've come-
before,
yeah.
and it never went anywhere.
Possibly.
But now
Yeah.
it's more newsworthy.
Well,
Because
because Nancy Pelosi is backing them up.
Well, and Pelosi said she didn't know anything about it and all that stuff. But Pelosi kept him in a high, prominent position even after the Chinese spy thing, where he was dating a Chinese spy for a long time.
Well,
Was
he
it Fang
did-
Fang or
Has
something?
been a Pelosi protege.
Yeah.
Didn't politicians used to get vetted before the party would let them
Who vets them?
stand out?
Yeah,
Party.
You know?
The media would vet them, and if
Yeah.
you were a Republican, you got vetted a lot harder.
In all the movies and shows and stuff,
Yeah,
they,
well,
they
that's
always
it.
have the guy that's, oh, I want to run, and oh no, we found this one thing in your past, and you're never going to get elected. And you expect that's what's going
But
on. and
that's
they
what the
wouldn't put anyone
movies
up.
show.
Yeah.
It may not have been reality.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the reality is, well, we'll just keep that hush hush because we want you in office.
If the media is on
Yeah.
your side.
Members of Congress have traditionally been reluctant to pursue expulsion against colleagues who have not been criminally charged or found by the House Ethics Committee to have committed misconduct.
And I agree with that.
But Luna argued that the serious allegations against Swalwell required a more aggressive approach because he hasn't been convicted,
Right.
or anything. So that's what shocked me. Is every
If the and I agree, people are innocent until proven guilty. If
Yeah.
but if the ethics committee says no, this looks like a real deal, then I would think that's enough to get rid of them. And obviously, if they're convicted, that should be enough to get rid of them.
Luna also
Barring that, it is a tough call.
she also comments on the people on Capitol Hill turning a blind eye. She says, from what we are hearing on the Hill, this was behavior that was known about
Mhm.
for a while, but no one come forward to officially report.
Yeah.
The silence is disturbing. She predicted that additional sexual misconduct allegations would be made against Swalwell, and that she turned over unreported information about Swalwell's conduct to the FBI. She also reported the expulsion of former Tony Gonzalez, who resigned. She said, I guess I took I took it on myself to act specifically in these cases because I got really frustrated. I'm up here to serve my constituents. There's a lot of people that are up here to do good on behalf of the districts to actually make real change. And if you are an associate with and you accept people's behavior that is unethical and immoral and illegal, it's a poor reflection, not just in the institution, but also taints the waters for everyone that serves with these people.
Is she Republican or Democrat?
She's, I think, a Republican. She's a Republican in Florida.
Yeah, because she hit both sides. She hit the Democrat and Swalwell,
and she's talking about people's behavior, but she also relates it to it's a poor reflection on the institution and on the people that do nothing.
Yep. Well, and again, Gallegos. Oh, I heard about it, and I asked, and the reporter said, "Did you never ask him about?" Oh, I asked him, but he lied.
Yeah. Yeah, those were recent comments from yesterday.
That's sufficient investigation. Yeah. You got 20 people saying you're doing these horrible, evil things, for no benefit of their own.
But you're
going to lie.
It was pointed out that he actually walked out into the hallway to do that impromptu. That he knew they were out there and went out and did it. So he wanted to get that information out. Whatever.
Well, because a few days before he was standing up saying, he would never do that
Correct.
Kind of thing, and so he had to protect his own body.
And I don't know where it's going to go with him. I don't know what's.
Well, hopefully he'll not be reelected.
Well, politically, I would agree with you because I don't like his politics.
I don't like him as an individual. So
right.
Personally, I find that the sexual indiscretions, peccadillos, behavior of Swalwell not to be great. But I found that his lying to everybody when he was head of the Intelligence Committee was far more serious, far more damaging to the Republic than, groping some low-level staffer.
And apparently he did much more than groping them.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's allegations are out there.
Yeah.
Somebody goes out drinking, gets drunk with somebody and ends up in bed with the guy, and then it's rape. Well, it's kind of hard to be completely sympathetic.
Well, and none of us know all the details, and none of it's been proven in court. But some of the allegations are much more decided. He made choices to engage with women inappropriately and force them in certain ways.
Well, it's right, because if somebody's working for you, they just have they're lower on in the power structure,
and that's automatically a red flag for anybody.
But I think it's more common in politics than many people would think.
Yeah. Well, and when they with JFK having the affairs that he had, and people are like, well, when somebody gets to that level of power, or the personality that can get to that level of power, they're just never satisfied with what they have. They're always looking for more, and yada 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 yada. And that might be true when people are getting into the politics. It's just that personality that's always looking for more. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't have that personality, and I'd like to get into politics. So
I think you stated power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely in a different way.
We talked a little bit about the oil that the United States is shipping out and all that and where it's coming from. Venezuela crude imports help ease U.S. fuel prices. And according to this article, Andrew Waltz, the company's head of global refining, said the company is running its Mississippi refinery at full capacity to process enough crude to boost output. A tanker carrying 400,000 barrels of Venezuela crude will supply that refinery for 4 days. The oil imports are helping both bring revenue to Venezuela, and it's helping Americans. So they're paying for it. It's not getting it for free. The ship is lowering prices in America because we have access to new supply point that we didn't have previously.
Excellent.
So it is coming.
And the Venezuelans are benefiting from it.
They get the money.
Yep.
Well,
so they're getting paid.
And they don't have Madero and stealing it all for himself. So just win, 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 win.
And I haven't heard. I know U.S. oil companies were given access to go in and work.
Going back in
because they had all their equipment, everything confiscated. They lost billions of dollars when that happened. But they're supposed. I don't know if that started.
I would suspect they're going to be a little bit wary.
I would be.
Wait to see what shakes out down there because they still have acting.
And what's going to happen
president.
if Trump's out of office in 3 years?
Right.
Are they going to appropriate it again? Or are we going to have a different foreign policy and say, let them steal it from the oil companies again? I don't know.
Well, that's the inconsistency we were talking about before.
There's something between Ukraine and Russia going on, of course.
Yeah, in addition to.
In addition.
Something new?
No, this has to do with grain.
Okay.
Russia ship carrying stolen grain from Ukraine.
I heard about that.
It's at a dock in Haifa, and Ukraine alleges, according to reports, that the vessel was loaded by boats sailing from ports in Russia and occupied Ukraine. So Ukrainian journalists and all that are complaining that it's their gain, and they're asking for it to be taken. So it drew attention to the Russia vessel carrying grain stolen from Ukraine that was allowed to dock in one of Israel's ports. So it's over in Israel.
Huh.
And they're asking, and they also said that the Ukrainian agriculture product is part of Russia's broader war effort. Such illegal trade with stolen goods must not be allowed. I don't know what they do on that stuff.
How did a ship with Ukrainian grain?
Well, it's occupied
Israel?
territory in Ukraine.
Yes, the territory is occupied, controlled by Russia.
The ship would have had to go all the way around Europe to get to
goes to the
Israel.
Suez Canal.
No. It goes through the Dardanelles, to the Black Sea, into and Turkey controls the strait there, the Dardanelles. That commercial shipping goes directly into the Mediterranean from there.
Huh.
So it's relatively short route. I think it's a few hundred miles.
So it's sitting over there, and they're asking for their grain back.
Well, yeah.
Well, what they're doing I'd say it's a little more complicated. They're saying that territory is ours, even though Russians control it.
Right.
And the Russians who control it say, well, that grain was produced on territory we control. It's our grain.
Yeah. And what does the farmer get?
Well, he's already been paid by
shafted.
the Russians.
You
I
think
would
so?
think.
I don't know.
I mean, and the question was the farmer paid what he thought it should be? I mean, if you don't pay them enough to pay for their fertilizer and everything else, they're not going to produce more.
Yeah.
So he probably was paid.
It's weird, but even during the war, I guess farming goes on. You plow the fields.
Well,
and
Ukraine,
just duck.
We get the impression that everything stops while everyone, the people are still going about their daily lives trying to make things work. And
Ukraine has been described as the breadbasket of Europe.
Right. A lot of noise going on in Virginia in relation to the governor, Abigail Stamberger.
Yeah.
Abigail really did a great job of disguising who she was. She came off as she came off as a centrist all during the vote and
That's
everything.
how she sold herself. Yeah.
And but she just signed that bill on the National Popular Vote Compact, which of course makes it null and void for.
But trying to work around the.
Let me take a phone call real quick. I got Sandy. Sandy, good morning.
Good morning. I wanted to agree with Dean.
Yeah.
I think that I agree with you. I got to tell you, I'm like 100%.
How dare you?
You're obviously extremely smart.
100%. Anyway, I agree with him that things that have happened bad to the Republic are what the Democrats did to President Trump and also like to the January 6th people, but just focus on President Trump for now.
Okay.
The line that went on and the engineering to put together false impeachments, like Tulsi Gabbard just put out the evidence that so-called whistleblower wasn't really a whistleblower. He was just a Democrat that supported Obama, that had an agenda where they wanted to take down President Trump.
Right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
she's asked for him to be charged, and I appreciate that. But I'm still very angry with people like Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Obama, because he was behind all of this. Hillary, and no repercussions for that when that's destructive to the Republic. Yes, these rapes or engagements by these guys are horrific.
Yeah.
But still, what Dean's saying, it was kind of like brushed over. That's why I decided to call. What Dean's saying is very relevant, and it's tragic that our country allowed that to happen, and that people didn't work harder to help President Trump fight it. And, the revelation now that the judges are so bad that Boasberg may actually be impeached. But what they did with each of those impeachments were just as phony as all get out.
Oh, yeah.
And they're already planning new impeachments. And if they had been stopped first term, then maybe these guys wouldn't be so sick, and maybe they wouldn't, with TDS, and maybe they wouldn't make their followers so sick. If they realize, wait a minute, that's not appropriate for the Republic. So I just wanted to add in there, and the show has been just awesome. Chris too. So,
of course, Chris.
All three of you have really enjoyed it. I haven't heard everything because life gets in the way.
Right.
I can't carry my phone around and do stuff.
You're a great
that's
contributor.
my setup. Yeah. So, well, I appreciate that. And I'll add something kind of funny here. I don't know, Russ, did you have a chance to see that old candid camera that I shared with you?
No.
It could have been like late last night. Okay, this is hilarious. If you guys get to see it, I'm not going to do everything, but what they did, and this was years ago, decades ago, is they put a sign up on a country road that says Texas was closed. And they had a man dressed in a official looking uniform, and people would drive up and he'd tell them, yes, Texas is closed. And they'd go, but wait a minute. And he'd say, there's just too many people in Texas. And they'd say, but wait a minute, my farm is just down the road and I've got animals to feed. And he says, well, you could wait till midnight. And, if somebody leaves, then you could take their place. And then he does another thing where, he's talking to another one. He says, oh, by the way, Arkansas is open. You could go to Arkansas. And one guy even backs up like he's going to leave. And a few of them got testy, but it's so wonderful that in that time, even the ones who got testy, they were just good people.
It wasn't road rage.
No, they're just good people. And obviously he doesn't let it go forever. But like somebody said in the comments, he never smiles. He stays like, it's a real thing. And it's just so good. And I have some relatives that, from Texas, from the old times, and they probably all passed away, but they were just good people. Even though I was a little kid, didn't really know them. They just were good people, and that's what I really am angry with the Democrats, because in their sickness, which I'm not even sure if the Democrat politicians really are TDS, but they have made their followers sick. And because of their sickness, it's caused them to be more violent.
Oh, yeah.
And then they've made terrible choices, like letting in the illegals into the country who are murdering, getting in accidents, and encouraging illegal immigration, which caused a lot of people to be killed on the other side of the border by the cartel, and raped, and little kids, it's bad on both sides of the border. So anyway, I wanted to put some humor in there too. I mean, it is really good. It's short. It's only like 2-3 minutes, but
we'll take a look.
It just shows how people, the difference in some of the people. I still think we have people like them.
Of course.
But we have people that just want to go out and beat the hell out of somebody.
Yes.
So
thank you, ma'am.
Anyway, thank you guys. Have a good day. Good show.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Somebody sent me a picture of that Representative Luna.
Uh-huh.
Military uniform with a AR across her chest there. Yeah.
Night vision goggles, a whole bit.
Right.
They said she's a gun nut.
Well, that's good for her. That's in her
I like
favor.
her more now. Yeah. It also says, how convenient that Congress forgot about Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
And his misconduct with women. And I don't know if anyone forgot. Matt Gaetz is gone, but not sure. And I don't know if anything was being investigated with him. I don't know.
Well, there was some charges in Florida, as I recall, and they were charges, and he adamantly said that they're not true.
All right.
Well, everybody
and he left Congress. But I would say that they were far less well substantiated than we're seeing with Swalwell.
But after you leave Congress, then it's over. And he says they both represented Florida hypocrisy. Well, no, maybe. I don't know.
Swalwell's from California.
Well, no, the other one, Gonzalez.
Oh,
I guess.
no,
or Luna's from Florida. Luna's from Florida.
Okay.
And Gaetz was from Florida.
Yeah, and Gonzalez is from Texas.
Yeah, and she's a gun nut, so that's good.
Well, I think so. And Sandy brought up a point, and she says, I don't know if these politicians are buying into the Trump derangement syndrome. Well, what I think is going on is the Democratic Party has been so used to being on top of everything, being the powerful ones that control the deep state and all of that. And this is all being threatened by President Trump. And especially in his second term. In his first term, he was backstabbed so much and he was contained in what he could do. And then he had a 4-year interregnum where he could study and understand what happened. And his second term is spectacular because he understands the mistakes he made in the first term and he's not making them in the second term.
Yeah.
He's appointing, personnel are policy, and he's appointing the right people. And if somebody turns out not to have what it takes, they're gone. He's only been in office for a year and a half. And we're looking at not even a year and a half.
Not even, yeah.
And the results are spectacular.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, but some would disagree.
Well, sure. They can
think
disagree.
He's
They
destroying
also can
America
be
on a steady basis to some.
But if you are on the opposite side, if you're on the Democratic Party side, you're looking at the loss of power sheer political power for generation.
Yeah.
And not just that, your funding is gone. The billions and billions, I think it actually comes out to hundreds of billions, well, at least tens of billions that were being poured into Democratic coffers through so-called nonprofit groups and non-governmental entities that were essentially just a way to legally sanitize money.
That's what it is. It's laundering money, it looks like.
To go into the left political pockets.
And the Democrats, we've been saying it for the last year and a half, that the Democrats are have nothing to stand on, no policy of any reasonable nature, except we hate Trump, we hate Trump, we hate Trump. And I've seen, because I like I'll listen to any comedian. If he's funny, he's funny, and a lot of them are liberal. So the AI says, oh, this guy must like liberal things. So I get news and stuff from liberal organizations.
Sure.
And there's talk among Democrats of, this isn't working. The more reasonable Democrats are looking at it and saying, this is not working for us. And there's talk of creating a third party.
Oh, yeah. Great idea. I love it. Yeah. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Well, if the Democrats fail, because parties in power have changed over the years
they have.
for one reason or another. If the Democrats are losing the power, this might be the time for another one to rise up and take their place. And it might, if it's reasonable Democrats that are doing it, we might have an opportunity to have some reasonable conversations.
Yeah, maybe John Fetterman can head it up or something.
It would be a big party.
Yeah.
But when your whole existence is based on this political power, and then you're losing it, you become desperate.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Well, speaking of NGOs and stuff like that, wait a minute, I got a caller. Ted's calling. Good morning, Ted.
No, you got to answer it first.
Well, I tried. Good morning, Ted.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Fine. I need to ask for your expertise on something.
Uh-oh.
I just heard something in the grapevine about the Marine Corps command readiness. My father used to do it at Belvoir when there was a threat to the bases and all.
Uh-huh.
And they're supposed to be doing some kind of operations and tightening up security here in the bases here in El Centro. Have you heard anything?
I have not.
I haven't heard anything.
I've seen a lot of aircraft flying around.
That's WTI, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And especially V22s. And maybe it's just because I noticed them, but there is considerable activity. I don't know if it's extra special base security, but look at what's going on all over the world. We'd be silly not to have be on high alert at the bases.
Yeah, there would be some just because of the Iran thing. So,
but I haven't read anything or seen anything personally other than normal, because they started cracking down on base security a lot, and a few years ago even. About
well, this is also supposed to be an area wide. I don't mean just the base, but area wide. Like there's some kind of threat that was made around here.
It's very possible. I mean, this comes in, this type of thing, I've seen it come in all the time. This is being, we're concerned, we've seen indications of this kind of threat, be on extra special alert. I'm paraphrasing, but I've seen that type of stuff a lot.
I haven't heard anything specific here, though.
Well, me either, but I'm saying it's not an uncommon thing to happen.
And I don't think we would necessarily hear anything
because
specific.
we're not, I'm not in the loop anymore.
Yeah, me neither,
Yes, you are. We all know you are. Don't play that game.
But driving by the airbase, it's so different now. You'll see quite a few security people there with rifles. It didn't used to be as heavy as it is.
Oh no,
right.
And the threat level has gone up, I think.
Yeah. So I think they mean business.
Well, they did. Well, yeah, but area wide is a little different. Like,
well, it could mean that they know they have some indication that in this area we're looking at a particular threat profile. It's possible.
Yeah.
I just haven't heard about it.
Right.
Yeah, because of the Iran thing going on.
Yeah.
There's been questions on whether or not there were sleeper agents and stuff like that that might want to do some harm.
Right. They might have some idea.
And I think that some Iranian officials even made threats to aircraft, particularly aircraft that are parked.
Well, and then there's been drone incursions at places where we have very expensive aircraft available.
Right.
I mean, a drone with a few pounds of explosive can destroy a few $1 million.
Damage,
yeah.
Well, especially hit the water supply, water and food supply. But you don't think this has anything to do with our crackdown on Mexico's government and the cartel?
I don't know. Hard to know. I mean, there could be intelligence saying cartels have made threats. It's possible.
It doesn't seem to be a cartel type move.
I don't expect the cartels to want to start something.
It seems to be an Iranian type move.
Yeah.
Not in a cartel. Cartels, I don't think they want to take on our military.
No.
Well, they're a money making organization.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's an ideology thing with Iran that's a little different.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm just curious because I know that the government in Mexico is run by the cartels. The families down there run the government. Period.
I think it's complicated, but yes, you're not wrong. It's just complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There's an interaction, I'm sure.
A lot.
Well, I better get my ID straight for my vehicle.
That's important. Do that.
It's about time. Thank you, Ted.
Everybody knows that I don't look like you, so I can't use your ID anymore.
Yeah, you ought to give that back to me anyway. Thank you, buddy.
Have a good day, guys.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care.
Mr. Ted. You talked about the fundraiser. You know Act Blue. Act Blue is a
the notorious Act Blue that's on current investigation for taking all kinds of foreign donations and money, illegal foreign donations.
And it is they define it as a top Democratic campaign fundraising effort. I would say so. And they've asked, the House Republicans have been asking to turn over international communications. And they've asked for some time. And Brian Still, Republican out of Wisconsin, he's the House Administration Committee chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, and Chairman Jim Jordan, Ohio, and Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, all three of them, collectively laid out their demands in a letter published on Tuesday. For more than a year, the committees have conducted oversight regarding Act Blue's fundamentally unserious approach to fraud prevention. Recent reporting strongly suggests that Act Blue deliberately obstructed the committee's investigation, including through misleading statements and noncompliance with our subpoenas. It's almost like noncompliance to subpoenas, I thought, meant something.
Well, in Act Blue's defense, if you are serious about fraud prevention, you can't commit fraud. So,
You mean if they want to get a lot of illegal money, then they have to get a lot of illegal money?
Assuming they do, and I know there's been a lot of suspected contributions illegally.
And a subpoena only carries as much weight as the enforcement behind it. Yeah. So, if the Republicans, if the House is disappointed by the response to the subpoenas, to take action, make it worthwhile for people to answer the subpoena.
I would think the Department of Justice would also be investigating this.
They might be. It doesn't say anything about that in this area, but
I mean, there's the laws. There are statutes that are alleged to have been broken.
Yep.
The original investigation began in 2023 when Republicans originally raised concerns over foreign donations possibly influenced American elections. It's followed by New York Times reporting memo from Covington and Burling, a law firm, warning that gaps in the screening armor could present a substantial risk for ActBlue. And it doesn't implicate wrongdoing or indicate that ActBlue accepted international donations. Even so, the reporting caught the eye of Republicans in Congress. Now, Jordan and Comer collectively are asking him to produce internal documents to examine the internal understanding ActBlue may have on its own weaknesses. Well, the first resignation letter came from General Counsel Aaron Ting, a document Republicans contend centers on liability created by ActBlue's donation security. Republicans believe the second, a message ActBlue former legal counsel Zain Ahmad relates to the ignored whistleblower complaint about those practices. Republicans have already requested these documents before, but haven't received them. Considerable reason to believe that ActBlue may have deliberately withheld this responsive material to impede our investigation.
Sounds about
that doesn't sound like a real damning thing, other than
it sounds pretty damning to me.
I thought you had to comply with these things, so
yeah.
Well,
you get as soon as you get lawyers involved. Well, we didn't have to do it for this reason or that reason. You didn't dot the I and cross the T.
But now the CEO and president of ActBlue, Regina Wallace Jones, in her own her own letter in 23, affirmed that the organization maintained the high standards for scrutiny of its fundraising. So there you go. It's over. It's done. Who wouldn't believe that? She says, our approach is multi-layered with checks and confirmations occurring throughout the donation process to verify donors and donor information. These measures, which include compliance measures, technology tools, and manual reviews, help to ensure the identity of donors, root out potential foreign contributors, and protect donors from financial fraud. All that means nothing.
Right.
I agree.
Well, that was a word salad. That was,
and it sounds like the investigation is not into necessarily the false bad donations, but into your structure that you just mentioned.
That sounds what it sounds like.
So
like, what is your process? What's your policies?
We'll go back you up on that as soon as you show us all this policy that you're talking about.
But they're asking specifics for some letters from counsel that ignored whistleblower complaints and some other things from general counsel, which I don't know.
Is there anything in the article to tell us what her salary is?
No.
I'm just curious.
That should be public information, shouldn't it? I mean, if she's
if it's a nonprofit, it should be.
It should be.
But I can believe the council. They gave their warning. Hey, if you keep this up, there's going to be a problem. And they didn't listen to it. All right, well then I'm getting out of here before it's
maybe. Well, this committee, these lawmakers, Republicans, have given a deadline to them to produce the requested documentation. The deadline is April 28th of this year. Of course, it's been going on since 23.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
Well, it should come out in time for the midterms.
I don't know. It says, absent these steps, the committees are prepared to use available mechanisms to enforce our subpoenas.
Let's do that.
And they do have some ability to enforce subpoenas.
As I said, I'd be surprised if the DOJ is not involved.
Yeah.
And this is not the DOJ. This is strictly the House of Representatives.
At the very least, to enforce the subpoenas.
But there's some teeth in it.
Yeah.
They can go out and grab you and bring you in.
Yes.
Yeah.
To attend and to give testimony. That's what subpoenas do. They require you to show up.
Yep.
Or they could do other things. I mean, you could have a subpoena that demanded you produce certain documents.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They're not even asking her to show up. Just email us the document.
Yeah.
Be as easy on you as possible. Just send us the document. That's all we ask for.
Just
And
stop giving me rhetoric.
Yeah.
a lot of times when these subpoenas are issued, the investigating authority already knows the answer.
Well, yeah.
And they want to see what you respond, how you respond, and if you give them the truth or you make something up.
Yeah. The general rule that I've heard, is for lawyers is never ask a question you don't already know the answer to.
Yeah.
In an official proceeding.
When they're asking for the documents, they already know what's in the document.
But it's much more interesting to not know it and get an answer that destroys you. I mean,
that's smart.
Yeah, that's more fun.
Yeah.
That and that's a slip by a prosecutor.
Yeah.
The
gloves.
Oh.
No, that too.
Oh, that was horrible.
That was a classic example.
And a lot of people have no idea what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Really?
Right.
Oh,
the
yeah,
gloves
that
in
was
the
a long time ago.
trial of
O.J. Simpson.
O.J. Simpson in
Yeah.
L.A.
Yeah,
But it was ridiculous to have
doesn't-
him try it on. They already knew
Yeah.
it was his glove size.
Yes, but he could
and
claim it doesn't fit. Doesn't fit.
Yeah, he put a glove on to protect him from germs first, and then tried to slip that glove over it with his hands out stiff, and it didn't fit. If the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit.
You must have quit.
yeah, I remember that very well.
And people tore into the prosecutor.
I love it when the lawyers rhyme.
It was a bad.
It was
really a bad move on the
It
prosecutor.
was a bad move. I don't know who decided to do that. They should lose their job.
I think she did.
Maybe.
Next election.
Well, we're out of time, gentlemen. I
Why?
appreciate it. It's been 3 hours.
Oh my goodness.
It's been very enjoyable.
Yeah, my back is actually asking.
It is Thursday morning, right? Yeah, Thursday morning. I'll be back tomorrow.
I'll be back Thursday.
We'll see who shows up.
Yeah, Dean might be here.
Thanks for coming in.